Chapter 2451 Grandfather The two-star celestial the arch of the non-human race had been killed, and the three other non-human celestial thearchs had fallen. Bubbles and the others led the army to chase after the alien races and killed a large number of them. The remaining alien races managed to escape. Lu Ming, you're amazing. I didn't expect you to surpass me again. Dandan looked at Lu Ming with a depressed look. Isn't it normal to be surpassed by me? Am an invincible heaven's favorite. In front of Dandan, Lu Ming's skin was thicker than his. Sure enough, Dandan was even more displeased and revealed a look of shock. Let's go, well, continue to kill the enemy. Lu Ming arrived and looked at the alien camp in the distance. There, a great army of the heavenly realm was fighting with the army of the foreign races. Kill? She gritted her teeth and wanted to vent her frustration at Lu Ming on the alien race. Seeing Lu Ming and his companion coming over, the alien races were shocked and quickly retreated into the military camp, activating the formation to resist. The two of them arrived outside the military camp. Greetings to the two heavenly emperors. In the heavenly realm army, many people were very respectful. In fact, there were some people who were more familiar with Lu Ming in this heaven realm army. For example, 2 of the 9 absolutes of the heaven realm were among them. However, at this moment they were looking at Lu Ming with eyes full of respect. It was obvious that Lu Ming had already become a heavenly emperor. From then on he was high and mighty. If they wanted to become heavenly emperors, they didn't know how many years it would take and how many things they had to go through. Their former opponent had now become a heavenly emperor. He had far surpassed them and they felt very complicated. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. Lu Ming waved his hands casually. With that, Lu Ming's gaze swept across the non-human camp. He realized that apart from activating the formation, most of the people had actually retreated to the back. Brother Lu Ming. At this moment, Bubbles and the rest flew over. Bubbles dashed into Lu Ming's arms. Bubble, you've grown up. Lu Ming touched Bubbles' small head. After not seeing each other for more than 100 years, Bubbles had finally grown up a little. She looked like a 7 or 8-year-old girl and was even cuter. Of course. Pow Pow pouted, her face red. Let's leave this place and return to Two World City, Lu Ming said. He believed that the news of what had happened here would soon spread to the other foreign races, and at that time, even stronger foreign races would definitely come. With Lu Ming's current strength and the Great Desolation Spear, he was confident that he could protect himself even if he encountered a 3-star heavenly emperor. However, it would be difficult to protect the others. If a peerless expert at the level of a 4-star heavenly emperor came, he would not even be able to protect himself. Alright, let's go back. Dandan also nodded. The other army was also planning to return to Two World City. Everyone flew towards Two World City together. There were no accidents along the way, and they returned to Two World City safely not long after. They had not seen each other for many years and naturally, there were many topics to talk about. Dandan, Bubbles, and Huang Ling were very curious about Lu Ming's experiences over the years. They pulled Lu Ming to drink with them and chatted. Lu Ming briefly recounted his experience over the years, shocking everyone. During this period of time, Lu Ming learned that Long Chen had returned to the divine wilderness and married Xian Yanlin. Lu Ming was happy for him. As time passed, he had let go of the grudges between him and the Xie family. It wasn't until the next day that the crowd dispersed. Lu Ming went to a courtyard and stayed there. He planned to return to the primordial realm in 2 days to visit his parents. However, just a day later, Dandan, Bubbles, Long Chen and the rest arrived at Lu Ming's residence. Ha, Lu Ming, look who we have brought. Dandan laughed. Who is it? Lu Ming smiled and swept his gaze across the room. Then he saw a young man in the crowd. He looked like he was in his 20s. He had an imposing appearance and was extraordinarily handsome. He looked 70 to 80% similar to Lu Ming. Divine wilderness. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although more than 100 years had passed, Lu Ming could immediately tell from the aura that this young man was Lu Shenhuang. Father. Lu Shenhuang shouted out, his eyes filled with surprise. Then Shenhuang Lu walked over while holding a young lad's hand. This lady was extremely beautiful and was no less beautiful than Feng Ling and Xiaoyu. She was carrying a little girl who was about 2 to 3 years old. She had 2 pigtails and was extremely cute. Father. The young lady blinked her big eyes and looked at Lu Ming curiously. She called out softly. Cheer, call Grandpa. Lu Shenhuang looked at the little girl. Grandpa, Grandpa, the little girl called out in her childish voice. What? Lu Ming was tongue-tied and stunned. It was obvious that the young lady was Lu Shenhuang's wife and the little girl was his daughter. He went around the evil god world and didn't expect that Lu Shenhuang was already married and had a daughter. Ha, Lu Ming, are you stupid? Dandan laughed. Get lost. Lu Ming berated Dandan. Then he looked at Lu Shenhuang and the rest with a big smile on his face. Good, good, good. Lu Ming said good a few times, his heart filled with warmth. These were all his family. Divine Wilderness, what are their names? Lu Ming asked. Father, her name is Mu Wanxian, this little guy is Lu Qi. Lu Shenhuang introduced. All right, all right. Lu Qi, Chia, come, let Grandpa hug you. Lu Ming extended his hand to Lu Qi. The little girl was not shy with strangers at all. She climbed onto Lu Ming and rolled around in his arms. Lu Ming carefully used the world energy to support Lu Qi, as if he was afraid that she would fall. In 2 years she can start cultivating. Lu Ming smiled and instructed Lu Shenhuang. Yes, I've been using spirit herbs to build her foundation. I'll let her cultivate in 2 years. Lu Shenhuang nodded. Have you met your grandparents? Lu Ming asked again. Lu Shenhuang was stunned for a moment before he shook his head. No, I didn't. Come with me to see them tomorrow, Lu Ming said. All right. Lu Ming and Shenhuang nodded. Everyone talked and laughed, and after a while, Dandan and the others left tactfully. Only Lu Ming, Lu Shenhuang, Mu Wanxian and Lu Qi were left in the courtyard. The little girl had been snuggling in Lu Ming's arms and was reluctant to come out. Little fellow, Lu Ming smiled. Then his body was filled with purple gold light, which enveloped Lu Qi. This was the power of a ruler. The power of domination dominated the world and was supreme. Lu Ming wanted to use the power of domination to build a foundation for Lu Qi and improve his body. The ruler's power was so mysterious that it could adjust Lu Kai's body to the best state. Lu Shenhuang and Mu Wanxian naturally knew what Lu Ming wanted to do. They stood quietly at the side and did not say a word. Lu Ming only finished after a full day. Lu Kai's body had undergone earth-shaking changes. It had become pure and stainless. When he started cultivating in the future, his cultivation speed would be extremely shocking. Chapter 2452 I won't let you down in this life. One Divine Wilderness, how is your mother? Lu Ming hesitated for a moment and asked. This was what Lu Ming was most concerned about. Mother is still the same as before. Lu Shenhuang said. Yes, when we return from the primordial realm, well, go find your mother. Lu Ming said. It was time to settle Xian Yanking's matter. Otherwise Lu Ming would not be at ease. Let's go. Lu Ming stood up and Lu Shenhuang and the rest followed him. They headed back to the primordial realm. Lu Ming had returned to the primordial realm a few times and was familiar with the way. Not long after, Lu Ming and the rest returned to the primordial mountain of the primordial realm through the void passageway. The primordial realm was still peaceful. Back then, the alien race had used the bone daggers of the previous generation of spacetime spiritual rats to open a passage to the primordial realm. Fortunately, Lu Ming and the rest had discovered it. In that battle, Lu Ming was captured, but the Titan Longhorn Beetle and the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm arrived and saved Dandan, Bubbles, 2E and Lei. Then he would send this news to the Heaven Realm. The Heaven Realm had sent a large number of experts to guard the passage. The alien races seemed to know that they couldn't do it. In these years they didn't continue to open the passage, nor did they invade from there. Thus the primordial realm remained peaceful. Lu Ming led the few of them and flew towards the Heavenly Emperor City. In the past, the people from Dragon God Valley and Dragon Alliance had occupied the territories of the Hung family and the He family respectively. Later on, the Primal Chaos Palace had sent some puppet masters to guard the two families, making them impregnable. These years the two families had developed steadily and many masters had emerged. In Dragon God Valley, the strength of the Dragon Alliance was steadily increasing. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping were chatting in a huge courtyard. Although more than 100 years had passed, not only did the two of them not age, they became younger and younger. Lu Ming had left behind a large amount of resources. Although Li Ping's cultivation talent was very poor, with a large amount of resources and the guidance of some great Emperor Realm experts, her cultivation had still reached the martial royal realm. As Force Emperor could live for 20,000 years. Of course she looked very young. Sai Ming'er hasn't been back for more than 100 years. I wonder how he's doing now. Li Ping sighed softly, her eyes filled with longing. Madam, young master is currently in seclusion. I believe that he will come back to see you once he comes out. At the side Qiuyu said. Back then they did not tell Li Ping and Lu Yuntian about Lu Ming being captured by the alien race. They had been keeping it a secret from them, only saying that Lu Ming was in seclusion. All these years Qiuyu had always been by Li Ping and Qiuyu's side. That's right, you're really a woman. You're already a martial emperor but you're still so ignorant. With Ming Heir's current cultivation, It's normal for him to go into closed-door cultivation for 100 years. Lu Yuntian chided Li Ping. You're the only one who's open-minded. Li Ping rolled her eyes. At this moment Chiu Yu seemed to have sensed something and looked up at the sky. The empty sky suddenly trembled and a spatial crack appeared. A few figures walked out from it. It was Lu Ming and the rest. Chiu Yu was stunned for a moment, then her delicate body trembled. Tears flowed down uncontrollably as she mumbled, young master is back. It's young master. Chiu Yu knew that Lu Ming had been captured by the alien race. Naturally she was extremely worried. It would be strange if she was not excited to see Lu Ming. Upon hearing Chiu Yu's words, Li Ping and Lu Yuntian also looked up at the sky. Ming, the two of them were overjoyed. Let's go down. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. He then stepped down and landed in the courtyard. Lu Shenhuang and the rest followed. Father, mother? Lu Ming was all smiles. Ming, you've finally come out of seclusion. Li Ping was also very excited. As she spoke, she looked at Lu Shenhuang and the others. With one look, she could not help but be stunned. This was because Lu Shenhuang and Lu Ming were too similar. Minger they are. Lu Yuntian was also a little stunned. Cough, cough. Lu Ming coughed a few times and started to introduce, Father, mother, this is my son. His name is Lu Shenhuang. That is his wife, Mu Wanxian. Also, this little fellow is the daughter of the divine wilderness, my granddaughter, Lu Qi. All? Li Ping and Lu Yuntian were both stunned. However, it was only for a moment and their faces were filled with smiles. He didn't expect that after not seeing each other for more than 100 years, they would even have a grandson. Not only that, but their grandson had already gotten married and had a daughter. The old couple was naturally excited to have so many descendants. Grandpa, grandma. Lu Shenhuang and Mu Wanxian both went forward and bowed to Li Ping and Lu Yuntian. Great-grandfather, great-grandmother, the little fellow also called out in a baby voice. Good, don't be so polite. The old couple could not stop smiling. Blood was thicker than water in a family, so they naturally got to know each other very quickly. After a while, Li Ping was happily chatting with Mu Wanxian with Lu Qi in her arms. Good, you really have Ming air style, ha. Lu Yuntian patted Lu Shenhuang's shoulder and laughed heartily. The family was happy and harmonious. Chiu Yu stood at the side, her eyes filled with envy. She wished that she could give birth to children for Lu Ming. Ming, the mother of the divine wilderness is? Li Ping asked Lu Ming after a while. It's Nianqing, Lu Ming said. Where is she? Li Ping asked with concern. She has something to do now. Mother, don't worry. They'll bring her to see you soon, Lu Ming said. As everyone chatted, not long after, Lu Yuntian ordered the servants to prepare a banquet. The news of Lu Ming's return spread and the people from the Dragon Alliance and Dragon God Valley cheered. Lu Ming was their backbone. They felt uneasy without him around. There was even a rumor that Lu Ming had passed away. There had always been an uneasy atmosphere in the Dragon Alliance and Dragon God Valley. Now that Lu Ming had appeared, everyone was naturally happy. At night, the moonlight was scattered, and the ground seemed to be covered in a layer of white frost. Outside the Heavenly Emperor City, on a mountain peak, Chiu Yu stood there quietly looking into the distance. Oh. After a long time, Chiu Yu sighed. Chiu Yu, what are you sighing for? Suddenly a voice was heard. Chiu Yu jumped in shock. She turned around and saw Lu Ming smiling at her. Young master. Chiu Yu's face turned red. Lu Ming walked over and held Chiu Yu's small hand. Chiu Yu, thank you, Lu Ming said. How could he not know what Chiu Yu was thinking? Young master, why are you thanking me? Chiu Yu said. Thank you for taking care of my parents all these years, Lu Ming said. This is what I should be doing. Before Chiu Yu could finish her sentence, Lu Ming's lips had already sealed her warm lips. Chiu Yu's body trembled and she slowly closed her eyes. 2 drops of tears flowed down her white cheeks. After a long time their lips separated. Chiu Yu, I, Lu Ming, will not let you down in this life. Lu Ming's determined voice rang in Chiu Yu's ears. Chapter 2453 Suppressing Xian Yanqing. I will not let you down in this life. This was Lu Ming's promise to Chiu Yu. After being in the evil god realm for more than 100 years, Lu Ming had thought through many things. There were some people that could not be disappointed. Just like Chiu Yu, she was devoted and devoted. She had given up so much for Lu Ming and had never asked for anything in return. How could Lu Ming not know that? How could he not be moved? Young master, thank you. Chiu Yu leaned into Lu Ming's arms and hugged him tightly, as if she was unwilling to let go for the rest of her life. The moonlight cast a long shadow on the two of them as if they were one. This time, Lu Ming stayed in the Heavenly Emperor City for 3 months. During these 3 months, Lu Ming did not cultivate much. He spent his time with Lu Shenhuang and the rest, accompanying Li Ping and Lu Yintian. Of course, Lu Ming also took the time to give a lecture. In addition to the people from the Dragon Alliance and Dragon God Valley, people from other forces in the Heavenly Emperor City also gathered to listen to Lu Ming's lecture. As soon as Lu Ming started his speech, the aura shocked everyone. Lu Ming was like a god that ruled the world, explaining the mysteries of the world to the fullest. The Celestial Emperor. Some people speculated that Lu Ming must have reached the Heavenly Emperor realm. A great emperor definitely did not have such an aura. The rumor that Lu Ming was the Heavenly Emperor spread like wildfire and shocked the entire Heavenly Emperor City. After that, the entire Yuan Mountain was shocked. Furthermore, this piece of news spread to other places at a terrifying speed. It caused a huge commotion in the entire primordial realm. Lu Ming had become a Heavenly Emperor. This news had shocked many people. Lu Ming stayed in the Heavenly Emperor City for a few months. Then he brought Lu Shenhuang and the rest back to the Heaven Realm. After returning to the Heaven Realm, he rushed to Xian Yanking's residence without stopping. It had been more than 100 years, but Xian Yanking's residence had not changed. It was still the same place. From afar, Lu Ming could see Xian Yanqing cultivating on a mountain peak. His entire body was enveloped in a strange black energy. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming was overjoyed when he sensed Xian Yanking's aura. He was afraid that Xian Yanking's cultivation level was too high. If Xian Yanqing had also reached the Heavenly Emperor realm, it would be more difficult for him to control Xian Yanqing. On the other hand, Xian Yanking's cultivation base was only at the Great Emperor realm. Lu Ming was confident. "You guys stand here, don't come over." Lu Ming instructed Lu Shenhuang and the rest before he stepped forward and walked towards Xian Yanqing. When Lu Ming was a distance away from Xian Yanqing suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was filled with a cold light. "Lowly ant, it's you, die." Xian Yanqing shouted and turned into a black stream of light, pouncing at Lu Ming. Whoosh! As he neared Lu Ming, a long sword appeared in Xian Yanking's hand. He swung his sword and a dark sword light slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming cast the Way of Domination. His palm was covered with purple gold light as he struck out. Boom! Lu Ming's palm collided with Xian Yanking's sword radiance, creating a loud boom. Xian Yanking's sword light dissipated. Her delicate body trembled and she couldn't help but take 2 steps back. However, Lu Ming's body shook violently and he took a few steps back. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was extremely shocked. After clashing with Xian Yanqing, she felt that Xian Yanking's power was so powerful that it seemed to tear apart her ruler's power. Although Lu Ming's current cultivation base was only 1-star Great Emperor, he could suppress and even kill a 1-star Celestial Emperor with the Tao of Domination alone. Xian Yanqing had actually managed to repel such a force. Xian Yanking's combat strength was also shocking. With his peak Emperor cultivation he could fight above his level and even kill a Heavenly Emperor. Kill? Xian Yanqing shouted and charged at Lu Ming again. Lu Ming condensed a long spear in his palm and swept it towards Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming did not use his physical strength. He fought Xian Yanqing with the power of the Way of Domination. Boom! Boom! The two of them clashed continuously, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. Lu Ming was shocked to discover that he was actually at a disadvantage. He wasn't Xian Yanking's match with just 1 Tao of Domination. He couldn't help but secretly rejoice that Xian Yanqing hadn't broken through to the Heavenly Emperor realm. Otherwise he wouldn't have been able to suppress Xian Yanqing. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles and bones trembled and he began to release his physical strength. The combination of physical strength and the Way of Domination greatly increased Lu Ming's combat strength. With a shake of his spear, a terrifying force surged towards Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanking's body retreated rapidly, his face pale. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and pounced on Xian Yanqing. His spear swept towards Xian Yanqing again. Xian Yanqing shouted. The black light around his body was extremely intense. A bright sword light burst out, but it was destroyed after colliding with Lu Ming's long spear. Xian Yanqing retreated again. Lu Ming quickly followed. In the distance, Lu Shenhuang and the others were extremely anxious. "Don't worry. Lu Ming will not hurt your mother. He's helping her." A figure suddenly appeared beside Lu Shenhuang and the rest. It was Xian Yinjuan. Xian Yinjuan was dressed in white and his aura was unfathomable. "And?" Lu Shenhuang nodded. "Bus." Lu Ming rushed towards Xian Yanqing. The spear disappeared and turned into a big hand, grabbing at the young man. Xian Yanqing shouted as the black light around him grew even more intense. It then turned into black lotus flowers that surrounded Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming's big hand grabbed the lotus but was blocked by it. The defensive power of this lotus flower was shocking. So strong. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and rushed over, his fists constantly blasting out. Boom, boom, boom. The lotus flowers around Xian Yanqing's body kept on rumbling. One by one, the lotus flowers exploded and disappeared into energy. Open it. Lu Ming shouted as the power of domination filled his entire body. He exerted force and broke apart the lotus flowers. Then he reached out and held Xian Yanqing in his arms. Lowly ant, you're courting death. Xian Yanqing fought back with all his might. His strength was so strong that Lu Ming's arm went numb. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and held Xian Yanqing's slender waist tightly. His other hand grabbed both of Xian Yanqing's arms. Then he poured his dominator's power into Xian Yanqing's body and suppressed her strength. The power of domination was indeed very advanced and powerful. It slowly suppressed Xian Yanqing's power. Xian Yanqing's resistance was getting weaker and weaker. Ant, you're courting death, Xian Yanqing continued to shout. Shut up. Wait a minute. Watch how I conquer you. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Anyway, this wasn't Xian Yanqing. It was just his memory from his previous life. You guys wait here. Lu Ming said to Lu Shenhuang and the rest. Then he brought Xian Yanqing and flew into the distance. They came to a hidden place and entered the mountain and river diagram. What do you want to do? Xian Yanqing shouted. Shao Qing and I already have a child. We're an old couple, what do you think I'm doing? Lu Ming gave a strange smile. Xian Yanqing's face turned pale and he screamed in fear, No, don't. I won't let you off, Sila. Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense and started to take action. Chapter 2454. Slowly recovering, Lu Ming was very familiar with the process and he started to take action. Xian Yanqing had no choice but to let the memories of this life take over. The two of them had a moment of intimacy. In the following days, Xian Yanqing would counterattack whenever he had the chance. He wanted to kill Lu Ming, but he would be subdued by Lu Ming every time. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. In this way, Xian Yanqing's memories of this life slowly gained the upper hand. Every day, the time that the memories of this life dominated was getting longer and longer. Sometimes she would go out with Lu Ming to accompany Lu Shenhuang and play with little Lu Qi. This way, a virtuous cycle was formed. Staying by Lu Ming's side, staying by his child's side, Xian Yanqing's obsession grew stronger and stronger. He was absolutely unwilling to give up and fought against the memories of his previous life. The battle intent from his past life was getting weaker and weaker. In the memories of his previous life, his background was extraordinary. He was high and mighty, a goddess who did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. Even though Lu Ming's cultivation base had reached the heavenly emperor realm, he was still a lowly ant in her eyes. What was a heavenly emperor in her eyes? Even the supreme powerhouses who had surpassed heavenly emperors were like ants in her eyes. However, she couldn't take it anymore. She would rather die and let Xian Yanqing's memories merge with her. Xian Yanqing's memories of his past life had lost their will to fight, so naturally his current life's memories prevailed. Slowly, Xian Yanqing's memories of his past life became weaker and weaker. Just like that, 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. In these 3 years, Xian Yanqing's memories of his previous life had almost been wiped out and devoured. Most of the time, Xian Yanqing's memories of this life dominated. Even if the memory of his previous life was occasionally dominant, it had changed. He did not kill Lu Ming but was in a daze. On this day, Xian Yanqing accompanied Lu Shenhuang, Lu Qi and the others. As for Lu Ming, he was sitting cross-legged on a mountain peak. His body was completely covered in purple gold light. After several years of cultivation, Lu Ming's mastery of the path of domination had deepened. I can break through now, Lu Ming muttered. He then took out pieces of chaos gems and began to devour the chaos qi in them to improve his cultivation. Ooh! A large number of chaos gems were devoured by Lu Ming, refined and transformed into world power. Lu Ming's small world started to expand rapidly again. However, the amount of resources it consumed was also shocking. When Lu Ming broke through to the Great Emperor realm from the True Emperor realm, he had used up 3,000 chaos stones and a large number of raw gemstones. Now, Lu Ming had used up even more resources to break through to 2-star Great Emperor from 1-star Great Emperor. As time passed, the number of resources that Lu Ming refined increased. Half a month later, Lu Ming had consumed a total of 6,000 chaos gems. With 30% of the raw gemstones in his body, his cultivation had finally broken through to 2-star Great Emperor. His small world had doubled in size, reaching a radius of 20 million miles. The purple gold energy in his world power had increased and become more concentrated. The reason why Lu Ming had consumed so many resources was because he had converted them into this purple gold energy. This purple gold energy was not world energy. It was of a higher level than world energy. Lu Ming called it the Dominator's energy. If this continues, I won't have enough resources. At the thought of this, Lu Ming smiled bitterly. At first, the resources he had obtained from the Void Island were enough. Lu Ming thought that they would at least last him for a long time. However, he now realized that they were not enough. He was only a 2-star Great Emperor now. Of the 20,000 Chaos Gems, he had already used up 9,000 of them, and there were still 20,000 Primordial Chaos Gems left. As for the raw gemstones, he had used up 30 to 40% of them. At this rate, these resources could only allow Lu Ming to cultivate to 4-star Great Emperor at most. If he continued, he would run out of resources. Without resources, it would take God knows how long to advance to the next realm by slowly absorbing the natural energy of heaven and earth. Let's take one step at a time. Lu Ming sighed. The increase in his cultivation level had greatly increased Lu Ming's combat strength. The power of domination had become stronger. Lu Ming could suppress or even kill a 2-star Great Emperor with the power of domination alone. With his physical strength and the Great Desolation Spear, defeating a 3-star Great Emperor would not be a problem. Not far away, Xian Yanqing and the others also looked over. Forget it. Xian Yanqing murmured. There was a sigh in his eyes and a trace of unwillingness. She still had things to do in another place. Chapter 2455, 3-star Great Emperor. 3-star Great Emperor. Xian Yanqing's eyes flashed with a complicated look. A voice entered Xian Yanjin's ears. Xian Yanjuan, I'll leave that matter to you. Don't worry, I'll definitely complete that task. Xian Yanjuan also sent a message to Xian Yanqing. After hearing this, Xian Yanqing smiled slightly, and then her delicate body suddenly trembled. Boom. At this moment, a powerful aura emanated from Xian Yanqing's body. Then she sat cross-legged and a black lotus appeared, enveloping her. Mother? Lu Shenhuang was shocked. Lu Ming's figure flickered and he also came close. Don't worry, your mother has succeeded. The memories of this life have completely taken the initiative. She has devoured the memories of her previous life and is about to make a breakthrough. Xian Yanjuan smiled. Lu Ming was overjoyed too. It seemed that Xian Yanqing had finally succeeded. Lu Ming glanced at Xian Yanjuan again. In his eyes, Xian Yanjuan was becoming more and more unfathomable. Due to the conflict between the two memories, Xian Yanqing's cultivation was far behind Xian Yanjin's. Even Lu Ming could not tell what Xian Yanjin's cultivation level was. Who exactly were Shao Qing and Xian Yanjuan in their past lives? Lu Ming pondered. He had a feeling that the two of them must have had very shocking backgrounds in their previous lives. However, he was already at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. He had even met the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor, but he still couldn't figure out Xian Yanjuan. He had asked Xian Yanqing this question before. However, Xian Yanqing shook his head and did not say much. He only said that it was not the time yet. He seemed to have some concerns and Lu Ming did not pursue the matter. Xian Yanqing's aura was getting stronger and stronger. He was at the critical point of breaking through to the Heavenly Emperor realm. Everyone waited in the distance. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Xian Yanqing was still in the midst of his breakthrough when Lu Ming received a message from the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor. Outside the two-world city, the passageway that led to the primordial realm had reopened. Lu Ming was shocked. That passageway led to the primordial realm. Back then, Lu Ming had come to the heaven realm through that passageway. In the battle back then, the passageway was destroyed by the divine nine-dragon cauldron controlled by Lu Ming. Back then, evil swordsmen said that the passageway would reopen in about 100 years. Now, more than 100 years had passed, and that passage had finally reopened. Lu Ming was a little worried that the alien races would send an army to attack that passage and enter the primordial realm. Divine wilderness, wait for your mother here. I have something important to do. I will return to Two-World City first. When your mother has broken through, come find me in Two-World City. Lu Ming said. Father, be careful. Lu Shenhuang said. Lu Ming nodded. He took a step forward and the space cracked. Lu Ming entered the crack and disappeared. With Lu Ming's speed, it did not take long for him to rush back to Two-World City. After rushing back to Two-World City, he learned that the Heaven Realm had already sent some peerless experts into the ancient battlefield to guard the passage. That battlefield was very terrifying, and there were marks left by the peerless experts back then. It was dangerous even for ordinary celestial emperors to enter, and only the peerless experts could enter safely. Now, there were many strong people in the heaven realm. A group of great beings came from the lair of Zulong. With the great beings from the prison suppression field, there were many great beings. But this time the alien races didn't do anything. They still focused on defense. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the news. Now that the prison suppression field had come to the heaven realm, the two sides had joined forces and their strength had increased greatly. The non-human race didn't seem to want to fight them head-on. Instead, they wanted to wait for sacred ancestor Bloodheart to recover. Lu Ming was very clear about the alien race's plan. However, they had no choice. The heaven realm could defend, but they couldn't gather all their forces to attack the evil god realm and destroy the evil god realm before Saint Ancestor Bloodheart recovered. The only thing they could do now was to improve themselves as much as possible. The final battle would definitely come. The passageway was fine. Lu Ming made up his mind and returned to Xian Yanking's side, waiting for him to break through. A few more months passed and Xian Yanking's aura reached its peak. Heavenly Emperor Realm. Xian Yanqing had finally broken through. Strange. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with doubt. Xian Yanqing had broken through to the Heavenly Emperor Realm, but the feeling he gave off was different from the other Heavenly Emperors. Whether it was in the Heaven Realm or the Evil God Realm, after breaking through to the Celestial Emperor Realm, no matter what cultivation system one cultivated in, they all belonged to the Heavenly Tao and involved the power of the Heavenly Tao. Of course, Lu Ming's path of domination was an exception. However, Lu Ming did not sense any aura of the Heavenly Tao from Xian Yanqing. There was only pure strength, but it gave off a terrifying feeling. Lu Shenhuang cultivated the same technique as Xian Yanqing. It did not belong to any cultivation system in the Heaven Realm or the Evil God Realm. Lu Ming knew that it should be Xian Yanking's cultivation method from his previous life. Lu Ming, the Divine Wilderness. Not long after the breakthrough, Xian Yanqing retracted his aura. He opened his eyes and smiled at Lu Ming and Lu Shenhuang. "Mother, have you completely recovered?" Lu Shenhuang was overjoyed. "All right, I'm done." Xian Yanqing smiled. Then he turned to look at Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanjuan smiled, turned around, and disappeared in a flash. Next, the family gathered together and it was a happy and harmonious time. Lu Ming stayed there for a few more months. In these few months, Lu Ming was completely relaxed and did not spend too much time on cultivation. A few months later they returned to the primordial realm and met up with Lu Yuntian, Li Ping and the others. After some time they arrived at Two World City. After that, Lu Ming planned to stay in Two World City and cultivate while fighting against the alien races. The days seemed to have become dull. Time passed quickly and it had been 20 years. After 20 years, Lu Ming had finally made another breakthrough. His cultivation level had risen to 3 stars Great Emperor. However, the amount of resources used was also shocking. This time he used primordial chaos stones. Lu Ming had used up all 20,000 primordial chaos stones in one go. As for the raw gemstones, Lu Ming only had 30% of them left. "I'm afraid the remaining resources won't be enough for me to break through to 4-star Great Emperor." Lu Ming smiled bitterly. However, after breaking through to 3-star Great Emperor, the ruler's power in his world energy had become a bit denser, and his battle power had undoubtedly become stronger. However, his physical body had not broken through, and his 7 gods' mysterious skill was still at the early stage of the 6th level. It would take a long time for him to break through to the middle stage. Blah. On this day, Lu Ming was chatting with Xian Yanqing when he suddenly heard the sound of running water. The sound seemed to be coming from a distance. And the sound was getting louder and louder like the waves of a big river. "What's that sound?" Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing found it very strange. They flew into the sky to watch. As soon as they flew into the sky they were all shocked because people were flying in the sky from all corners of Two World City. They looked in the direction outside Two World City with puzzled expressions. The voice came from outside Two World City and spread throughout the entire city. Could it be the work of a foreign race? Someone asked doubtfully. "Let's go and take a look." Many people flew toward the city walls of Two World City. Chapter 2456 Ancestral Dragons summons. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing also flew toward the city walls of Two World City. When they arrived, they realized that countless people had already gathered on the city walls. However, there was no movement outside the city wall, nor was there any sign of a foreign being. "Senior Hangyu, what's going on?" Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing saw the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor and walked over to ask. "I don't know. There's a strange noise outside Two World City." We've already sent people to check it out. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. Everyone waited in silence. Not long after, more than a dozen figures flew back from outside Two World City. What's happening outside the city? Why is there the sound of a great river flowing? Someone immediately asked. In a battlefield outside the city, the space suddenly cracked open and a river appeared? An old man replied. A river suddenly appeared? Many people were puzzled. That's right. It's a vast yellow river with water flowing out. It's extremely terrifying. A great emperor was splashed by the water and was immediately corroded to death. The old man said. What? Many people gasped. What river? The river water was so terrifying that even a great emperor would be corroded to death if they were splashed by it. It looks like the legendary Yellow Spring River in the Nine Nether Heavenly Domain. The old man replied. What? Yellow Spring River? Why would the Yellow Spring River appear on this battlefield? It's said that the Yellow Spring River has no end and flows through the heavens. Perhaps it will pass through this battlefield? But why is it overflowing? Many people were very confused. Yellow Spring River. Lu Ming was shocked. He was sure that it was the Yellow Spring River. Back then he had gone to the 10,000 Spirit Heavenly Region by accident and entered the 9 Serenities Heavenly Region with the Archean Body Cultivators. He had used the Yellow Spring River to return to the Tai Ching Heavenly Region. He knew very well that the Yellow Spring River did pass through the battlefield outside the city. Let's go and take a look. Let's go. Many people flew out of the city and toward the source of the sound. Lu Ming, do you want to go and take a look? Heavenly Emperor Hangyu looked at Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He, Xian Yinqing, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor, and the rest immediately flew toward the source of the voice. Not long after, they arrived at a battlefield and stopped far away. In front of him, cracks appeared in the space. He could clearly see a yellow river flowing through. This river was extremely wide. It flowed through the void and no one knew where it flowed to. From time to time, yellow river water would overflow and fall on the ground, corroding the earth and creating bottomless pits. It's the Yellow Spring River. Lu Ming muttered. He had seen the netherworld before and he would not be mistaken. But why did the space suddenly crack and the Yellow Spring River water overflow? This had never been recorded before. Lu Ming was very puzzled. On the other side of the Yellow Spring River, there were also many people, all of them from the alien races. Obviously, the alien races were also alarmed and were also watching in bewilderment. Look, a mountain has appeared on the Yellow Spring River. Suddenly, someone cried out in shock. He didn't need to call for the others to see it. In front of the Yellow Spring, a huge mountain appeared in the distance. Countless people were shocked. It was said that no one knew where the end of the Yellow Spring River was, not even the Heaven Sovereign. It was extremely mysterious. It could be said to be one of the most mysterious places in the world. Lu Ming's eyes widened. When they had escaped from the 9 levels of underground to the Tai Ching Heavenly Realm on the sky-reaching battleship, they had also seen such a mountain. At that time they had already guessed that this was the end of the Yellow Spring River. No one noticed that there was a figure in the depths of the sky. That figure was the Ancestor Dragon. Is it finally here? Moke has been waiting for this day for countless years. Is the legendary Netherworld mountain going to appear again? The Ancestral Dragon muttered. His eyes were filled with solemnness and anticipation. It's time to make preparations. Let's go, Zulong said and left. 3 days later, a dragon's roar reverberated throughout the entire Tai Ching Heavenly Region. Even Two World City could hear it clearly. In Two World City, Lu Ming suddenly stood up. Ancestral Dragon, the voice of the Ancestral Dragon. Lu Ming was shocked. The dragon roar of the Ancestral Dragon suddenly resounded throughout the Tai Ching Heavenly Region. What was going on? What on earth happened? The dragon's roar shocked the entire Tai Ching Heavenly Region, and countless people came out of their closed-door cultivation. Then, a piece of news spread like a whirlwind throughout the Tai Ching Heavenly Region and even the primordial realm. The lair of Zulong had appeared, and the Zulong had appeared. The Ancestral Dragon was a supreme expert who surpassed the Heavenly Emperor. When the news spread, the Tai Ching Heavenly Region was in an uproar. After all, not many people in this world knew about the Ancestor Dragon. Most people didn't know about the existence of the Ancestral Dragon. Even some Heavenly Emperors didn't know. My God, the Ancestral Dragon, a supreme expert who has surpassed the Heavenly Emperor? There's actually such an existence in this world. I used to think that it was just a legend. Haha, my heaven realm actually has such a strong person. How lucky. I heard that there are countless experts in the lair of Zulong. We don't have to be afraid of the alien races now. The appearance of the Ancestral Dragon boosted the morale of the Heaven Realm. However, Lu Ming was not so optimistic. The ancestral dragon has suddenly appeared. Is the final battle coming? Lu Ming muttered. He had a bad feeling. Could it be that Saint Ancestor Bloodheart had already fully recovered? Impossible. How many years had it been? At this time, Zulong sent out a large number of experts to invite some people to gather at the lair of Zulong. There were many geniuses among them. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had also received the invitation. In addition, there was also the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor, Dandan, Bubbles, Feng Ling, Long Qin, Ouyang Wushuang and others. There were no rules. Some had high cultivation levels, while others had low cultivation levels. Lu Ming and the rest set off immediately for the lair of Zulong. A few days later, they arrived at the lair of Zulong and gathered at a huge square under the mountain where Zulong lived. The auras of so many experts. How terrifying. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor and the others could feel the auras of the powerful beings on the mountain, and they were all shocked. Haha, after so many years I've come here again. Dandan grinned and laughed. Dandan, did you come here often in the past? Lu Ming asked. Of course, I'm an ordinary person. Unfortunately, I've only seen you once. Dandan said. I really want to see Senior Ancestral Dragon's Grace, an unparalleled expert who has surpassed Heavenly Emperor. He's a legendary figure. Feng Ling, Long Qin and the others were also very excited. As they chatted, more and more people arrived. Lu Ming saw many familiar faces. For example, Tianming, Bao De, and the 9 absolutes of the Heaven Realm, Lin Xiaofeng, Fu Lu and others. These were all geniuses. Lu Ming also saw some powerhouses. Some were at the Great Emperor Realm and some were at the Heavenly Emperor Realm. That is, the Titanos? Lu Ming suddenly saw a burly man. Beside him was a tall and thin man. Chapter 2457 The remaining top 10 battle beasts. Back then, before Lu Ming was captured by the alien race, the Titan Longhorn Beetle and the middle-aged man had helped him. Later on, Lu Ming found out from Dandan that the middle-aged man was the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm, one of the top 10 war beasts. Old Bull 9 Lives, you're here too. Come and greet this old man. Dandan shouted at the Titan Longhorn and the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm. The Titan Longhorn Beetle and the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm glanced at Dandan and then stepped forward. Greetings to the 2 seniors. Feng Ling, Long Qin, and even the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor hurriedly bowed. They knew that these 2 were 2 of the top 10 war beasts, so they naturally didn't dare to slight them. Each of the top 10 battle beasts was a terrifying existence, standing at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. In ancient times, other than a few unparalleled experts such as the Primal Chaos Emperor and the Undying Emperor, no one was a match for the top 10 war beasts. Of course, this was with the exception of people like Zhu Long, who had already surpassed Heavenly Emperor. And the Titan Longhorn Beetle and the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm nodded, indicating that there was no need to be so polite. Old Bull, aren't you guarding a void passage in the primordial realm? Why are you here? Dandan asked casually. Senior Ancestral Dragon sent someone to ask me to come. There are already people sent by Senior Ancestral Dragon to guard that place. The Titan Longhorn Beetle replied. Then it glared and said, Old Turtle, you know a lot of secrets. Do you know why the Ancestral Dragon gathered us here? It should be related to Netherworld Mountain, right? Dandan rolled her eyes and said. Netherworld Mountain? Could it be the faintly discernible mountain on the Yellow Spring River? The Titan Longhorn Beetle, 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm and the others were all puzzled. It should be, but I'm not too sure about the details. Dandan frowned. Haha, what a coincidence today. At this moment, a loud laugh was heard. Following that, a golden light flashed and a burly man with messy hair appeared in the sky. Big Brother Qing Tsang. Lu Ming revealed a smile. It was the 9-headed golden lion, Qing Tsang. Old lion, so you didn't die. When it saw Qing Tsang and the Titan Longhorn Beetle, it glared at them. Nonsense, if you, an old bull, are not dead, how can I die? Qing Tsang also glared at Dandan and said, also, if this outrageous old turtle didn't die, how could I die? Hey, what did you say? Be careful with your words. Dandan was furious, her eyes wide open. Dandan, what kind of outrageous things have you done in the past? Lu Ming asked curiously. What do you mean by that? They're framing me? Dandan's eyes were even bigger than the Titan Longhorn. Framed? Who used to rob people's ancestral graves every day. One time, I even stole it from the undying venerable emperor and was taught a lesson by him. I almost became a roasted turtle. Qing Tsang said disdainfully. Lu Ming was suddenly enlightened. He finally understood why Dandan could not obtain the indestructible ancient scroll when it was first born. It turned out that this guy had robbed the ancestral grave of the immortal venerable emperor in the past. It was already kind of him not to kill him. This guy was indeed unreliable. Wait, what's this guy's name? Dandan? Ah. The Titan longhorn beetle said. After it finished speaking, it began to laugh wildly. Dandan? Agi? Ah. Ching Tsang also laughed. Even the 9 lives devilish silkworm couldn't help but laugh. As for Huang Ling, Long Chen and the others, they wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. Their faces were red from holding back their laughter. You guys, Dandan was so angry that she was stomping her feet. Many people in the surroundings looked over. Some of them recognized Ching Tsang, the Titan Bull, and the others and were shocked. These were all the top 10 battle beasts, the ancient era's giant crocodiles. Now many of them were gathered together. The 9-headed golden lion, the Titan longhorn beetle, the 9 lives devilish silkworm, the world god turtle, and the space-time spirit rat. There were 5 of them. It had been many years since they had last seen them. This is space-time spirit mouse? So back then, after laughing for a while, Ching Tsang looked at Bubbles and sighed. The Titan longhorn and 9 lives devilish silkworm stopped laughing. Their expressions were somewhat dejected. During that battle, I was captured by the alien races long ago. I wonder how the others are doing? Ching Tsang asked. The battle back then was too tragic. 9 lives and I were seriously injured and haven't recovered for many years. The old turtle's injuries were even worse. You were captured, and only the 5 elements Chilin's injuries were better. He's been by the dragon ancestor's side all these years. As for the others, almost all of them died. The Titan longhorn beetle sighed. The 9 dragons died in the primordial realm. The sacred spirit ant, the undying celestial phoenix, and the Archean dragonesque elephant all died. Spacetime was even more miserable. Even their corpses were used by the alien races. The 9 lives devilish silkworm sighed. Even Dandan's eyes were a little dejected. In ancient times, the top 10 war beasts were extremely glorious. Back then there were some conflicts and grudges between them. However, after the ancient war, those grudges had long disappeared. Now there were only a few of them left. At the side, Lu Ming also sighed secretly. The more he knew, the more he could imagine the tragic battle that year. Too many experts had died in battle. Even a sect as powerful as the Hunyuan sect was almost completely destroyed. During this period of time, Lu Ming had learned from Earth One, Thunder One and the rest. Hunyuan sect, in ancient times, had once ruled the Hunyuan heavenly region and was extremely powerful. Hunyuan sect had 9 halls. For example, the Primal Chaos Hall was one of the 9 halls of the Hunyuan sect. There was also the Time-Space Spirit Hall, and the previous generation's Time-Space Spirit Rat was the Hall Master. The 9 Hall Masters were almost all peak heavenly emperors. However, the Primal Chaos Emperor was the leader of the 9 halls. Hunyuan sect's Grand Master was a terrifying figure, not weaker than the Primal Chaos Emperor. Such a powerful force was also annihilated in the battle that year. The 9 Hall Masters and Hunyuan sect Master had all died in battle. Only the Primal Chaos Hall had left behind some puppets. As for the Hunyuan sect headquarters, there were no experts left behind, only the Array Spirit inside. The Array Spirit was the one who had arranged for Lu Ming and the others to take the Hunyuan sect assessment. He had already understood these matters from Earth One and the others. As the crowd chatted, thousands of people had gathered in the square. Suddenly, a light flashed from the mountain and a few figures flew out. The one leading them was Zhu Long. There were a few people following behind the ancestral dragon, and some of them were the 5 elements Qilin. The other one had an unfathomable aura. Clearly he was also an extremely terrifying expert. The ancestral dragon flew out and stood in the air. A supreme aura emanated from his body that even the heavenly Tao was suppressed. Although most of them had never seen the ancestral dragon before, they all knew that it was the ancestral dragon when they sensed the aura. Greetings, senior ancestral dragon. The thousands of people all saluted respectfully. Rise. The ancestral dragon waved his hand, and everyone felt a force lifting them up. Even a peak heavenly emperor couldn't resist. I'm sure you're all very curious as to why I've suddenly gathered you here, right? Zilong said. Chapter 2458, Ancient Secret, Netherworld Mountain. Everyone's spirit was shaken. Was the ancestral dragon finally going to reveal the purpose of gathering everyone? They were also very curious. There are several aspects involved in this. Zhu Long muttered. The first is the existence that surpasses the heavenly emperor realm. Many people call my realm the Supreme Realm or the Ancestral Emperor. In fact, this realm is called the Martial God Realm, the realm above the Martial Emperor. Zulong said. The War God. Many people were shocked and their eyes lit up. It turned out that the Martial God Realm was above the Martial Supreme Realm. God, so there really were gods in the world. Qing Tsang and the other peak heavenly emperors were especially excited. They were already at the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. Their next step would be to break through to the Martial God Realm and transcend beyond the heavenly Tao, not bound by the heavenly Tao. Everyone's imagination ran wild, and Zhu Long started to explain. In the ancient times there were 4 martial gods in the heaven realm and the evil god realm. I, the owner of the prison-suppressing steel, am the ancestor of the prison-suppressing field. I am the prison-suppressing ancestor. There's also a saint ancestor of the non-human race. The last one is called Saint Ancestor Bloodheart. The 4 martial gods were divided into 2 camps. Prison-guarding Patriarch and I were good friends, while the Killing Heart Saint Ancestor and the non-human Saint Ancestor were on the same side. They wanted to invade the heaven realm and destroy the human race and the divine beast. That was the start of the ancient war. Each side has 2 war gods. Everyone's heart stirred and they perked up to listen. They knew that they were about to find out some ancient secrets. It was a brutal battle. The 4 of us fought in the dark void for 100 years. In the end, prison-guarding Patriarch and Saint Ancestor Bloodheart both died. Zhu Long continued. Some of the people from the prison suppression field looked sad. The divine ancestor and I were both severely injured. Even now, we haven't recovered from our injuries. We've been recuperating all these years. The outsiders are afraid of me, so they didn't dare to attack with full force. Zhu Long continued. Everyone came to a sudden realization. Although the outsiders were powerful as a whole, the martial god didn't have the upper hand and didn't dare to fight them head-on. This was normal. Senior Ancestral Dragon didn't say why the alien races attacked the heaven realm. At this moment, Lu Ming thought of a problem. This question had been on his mind for a long time, but since Zhu Long didn't say anything, he didn't ask. However, the situation has changed. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart isn't dead. The Ancestral Dragon continued. What? Other than Lu Ming and a few others, the rest were shocked and their faces were filled with shock. The sacred ancestor Bloodheart was still alive? Didn't that mean that there were 2 martial gods in the evil god realm? On their side, there was only 1 martial god. How were they going to fight? If that was the case, the heaven realm was no match for the alien races. The overall strength of the alien races was stronger than that of the heaven realm. With the addition of the 2 martial gods, the heaven realm was going to be destroyed. Some people's eyes were filled with despair. However, although Saint Ancestor Bloodheart didn't die, he was severely injured in the battle with the prison-guarding Patriarch, and only a trace of his bloodline is left. This is related to the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is Netherworld Mountain. Zhu Long continued. Netherworld Mountain? Many people were stunned. Yes, Yellow Spring Mountain. I believe many people have seen or heard of it. Outside the 2-world city, the space cracked open and the Yellow Spring River appeared. At the end of the river there is a mountain. That is Yellow Spring Mountain. Netherworld Mountain, an extremely hidden place. Even I have never entered it. Zulong said. Everyone was shocked. As a martial god expert, the ancestral dragon had transcended the heavenly path and was truly invincible in the world. In everyone's hearts he should be an omniscient figure. However, even the ancestral dragon had never been there. What kind of place was that? I've also read a few records from some extremely ancient books. Legend has it that Netherworld Mountain doesn't belong to the heaven realm, the primordial realm, or the evil god realm. Instead, it comes from beyond the heavens. Zulong said. Beyond the heavens? Many people were dumbfounded. Beyond the heavens? What did that mean? Could there be other worlds apart from the primordial realm, heaven realm, and evil god realm? Beyond the heavens? Dandan whispered, frowning as if she knew something. Beyond the heavens? Paoba muttered, her eyes filled with doubt. Bubble, what do you know? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. I don't know. Some images will appear in my mind, but I can't see them clearly. Pao Pao said. Lu Ming was puzzled and did not understand. Dandan glanced at Bubbles and did not say anything. Senior, what is beyond the heavens? Someone could not help but ask. Beyond the heavens? The ancestral dragon looked up at the sky and a look of reminiscence seemed to flash in his eyes. After a while he said, That's a vast place. We'll talk about this later. Let's talk about Netherworld Mountain first. It's said that Netherworld Mountain comes from beyond the sky. It's extremely ancient and mysterious. Usually it's covered by a layer of restriction. Even I can't enter it. However, it doesn't mean that you can't enter forever. It's said that after every 10,000 tribulations, the restriction of Netherworld Mountain will be opened once. At that time you can enter. Everyone was even more shocked. Even the ancestral dragon couldn't enter, so who else could? Also, the Myriad Tribulation will be activated once. Myriad Tribulations, how long were those? Each tribulation was 333,333 years long, so wouldn't 10,000 tribulations be more than 3 billion years? Everyone looked at each other. According to the ancient records, Netherworld Mountain is like a world of its own and contains countless treasures. Heaven Dao soldier-grade treasures can be found anywhere, and there are even some treasures that possess heaven-defying effects. No matter how heavy one's injuries are, they can be healed very quickly. This time, Netherworld Mountain is about to open. That's why there are so many strange phenomena. The non-human divine ancestor has been waiting for this opportunity. He wants to take the sacred ancestor blood heart into Netherworld Mountain and obtain an opportunity. Not only will his own injuries be healed, but the sacred ancestor blood heart's injuries will also be healed. In that case, we'll be even more unable to resist. That's why I've gathered all of you here this time to bring you into Netherworld Mountain. Firstly, you can stop the foreign tribe. Secondly, you can also obtain opportunities. If you can obtain great opportunities inside, I'm afraid your cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. Zulong explained. Everyone came to a realization. So this was the reason why Zulong had gathered them. He would stop the alien race and then obtain the opportunity to improve his cultivation. Most of you are people with great luck. After you enter, you will have a higher chance of obtaining an opportunity. However, I have to remind you that Netherworld Mountain is very dangerous. This time, many outsiders will enter with you. That is for sure. Moreover, Netherworld Mountain is vast and boundless. According to ancient records, the area inside is unimaginably vast. I'm afraid it's no smaller than the total area of the 9 heaven domains in the heaven realm. Moreover, there are countless living beings in there, including humans and other races. They have established their own countries, and they are extremely prosperous and powerful. There are even martial god realm experts in there. Zulong's face was solemn as he warned. What? Everyone was dumbfounded. Chapter 2459 Departure. The ancestral dragon's words left everyone dumbfounded. The Netherworld Mountain was vast, no smaller than the 9 sky regions in the heaven realm combined. There were all kinds of creatures living in it, forming countries. There were even martial god realm experts. This was too unbelievable. Netherworld Mountain was a completely different heaven realm or evil god realm. However, there's one thing you can rest assured about. No living being in Netherworld Mountain, no matter how powerful they are, even the martial god, can never come out. It's said that the people in Netherworld Mountain have been cursed and will be trapped in the mountain forever for generations. Even the cursed creatures can't enter some places in Netherworld Mountain. Only the creatures who are not cursed can enter. So this is our chance. The ancestral dragon continued, and all kinds of thoughts ran through everyone's mind. Therefore, although there will be great opportunities in Netherworld Mountain, it will also be very dangerous. If we go in, not only will we have to face and kill the alien tribes, but we might also have to kill the living creatures in Netherworld Mountain. Therefore, I will not force you. If you want to leave, you can leave now. The ancestral dragon's voice reverberated throughout the area, but no one left. According to the ancestral dragon, Netherworld Mountain came from beyond the sky. It was extremely mysterious and had many treasures. Even martial gods had their eyes on it. Even the ancestral dragon had never entered it. The Myriad Tribulation only opened once, so there must be a great opportunity. Although it would be accompanied by danger, when had there been no danger in cultivation? Even if they didn't go in, when the alien race's martial god recovered and came to the heaven realm, they would still die. It was better to go in and take a risk. Alright, since that's the case, well, go in. Zulong announced. They couldn't bring too many people in. Otherwise, they would be finished if the alien races attacked them. He believed that the foreign races were the same. They didn't dare to send too many people in. However, after you enter, you must remember a few things. First, after entering, if you see any outsiders, kill them. Second, try your best to find places that the creatures of Netherworld Mountain can't enter. There's a high probability of finding opportunities in those places. Third, remember to take advantage of the situation. Sometimes, you can use the power of the living beings of Netherworld Mountain to kill the alien race. If you can use the martial god realm experts of Netherworld Mountain to kill the alien race's divine ancestor and the saint ancestor Bloodheart, you can protect the heaven realm. Zulong warned him seriously. Everyone nodded and agreed in unison. Of course I haven't entered it. I read these according to extremely ancient books. Since the myriad tribulations have passed, I don't know what has happened in Netherworld Mountain. Therefore, after entering, the most important thing is to adapt to the situation. Alright, Netherworld Mountain will open in a month. All of you will gather here in a month. I'm afraid it will take a long time before you can come out. If you have anything to do, make arrangements in advance. The ancestral dragon ordered. Yes. Everyone received the order and left the place. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left the place, planning to bid farewell to Li Ping and Lu Yuntian. This trip would take quite a long time. Even the ancestral dragon said that it would take a long time, so it must really take a long time. Moreover, Lu Ming would not miss this trip. Lu Ming wanted to improve quickly. He could not cultivate step by step. It was too slow. Moreover, he needed too many resources to improve his cultivation level. The resources he had on him were simply not enough for him to improve. This trip to Netherworld Mountain might be an opportunity for him. When he returned to the Heavenly Emperor City, he bade farewell to Li Ping and Lu Yuntian, saying that they would be going into seclusion for a period of time. He asked Lu Shenhuang, Mu Wanxian, and Lu Qi to stay in the Heavenly Emperor City to accompany Li Ping and the rest. A month passed by in a hurry. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing returned to the square in the lair of Zulong. Everyone gathered again. Ancestral Dragon stood in the air and waved his hand. A small boat appeared and then quickly became bigger. This is a sky-reaching warship? No, it's not the ship that belonged to the Archean body cultivator. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He realized that the boat Zulong took out was very similar to the sky-reaching battleships that the Archean body cultivators used to take out. It could float on the Yellow Spring River. The Archean body cultivators once said that the sky-reaching battleship was obtained from a historical site by their ancestors. Could it be that the treasure that can resist the Netherworld water was obtained from Netherworld Mountain? Lu Ming had a thought. This ship is called the Sky-Reaching Warship. All of you can board it. If you want to enter Netherworld Mountain, you must use this treasure to cross the Netherworld River. Zulong said. Yes. Immediately, thousands of people rose into the air and flew toward the warship. It's indeed also called a heaven-reaching warship. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He held Xian Yanqing's hand and flew to the sky-reaching battleship. The sky-reaching battleship was extremely large, and thousands of people could only occupy a small space. After everyone had entered the warship shrank rapidly and was put away by the ancestral dragon. Then the ancestral dragon took a step forward and disappeared from the lair of Zulong. The next moment, the space outside the two-world city trembled and the ancestral dragon appeared. The speed was unbelievable. Mok? The ancestral dragon looked forward. The void in front of him shook and another figure appeared. It was the saint ancestor of the non-human race, Mo. Ancestral dragon, this time you'll definitely lose. Killing Heart and I will recover in Netherworld Mountain and take your head. The non-human divine ancestor Mok said coldly. Let's see who will have the last laugh. Yes, Zulong replied coldly. He took a step forward and rushed into the spatial crack. He came to the sky above the Yellow Spring River and waved his hand. The supreme battleship enlarged rapidly and landed on the Yellow Spring River. Zulong then landed on the deck of the supreme battleship. At the same time, the non-human divine ancestor had also entered the Yellow Spring. He took out a battleship similar to the sky-reaching battleship and also landed in the Yellow Spring River. The two warships advanced side by side, heading toward the Yellow Spring. The experts from both sides sized each other up and clashed. The first prince, Kando, on the alien warship, Lu Ming saw a few extremely talented figures on the longevity roll. The top-ranked geniuses on the longevity roll were all there. Clearly, the non-human divine ancestor had the same thought as the ancestral dragon. Choosing people to enter Netherworld Mountain wasn't based on cultivation but on luck. Only those with stronger luck would be able to obtain fortuitous encounters and even kill their opponents. The two sides did not make a move. If they did, they would only end up with both sides suffering losses. No one had the confidence. The two battleships continued to move forward. In front of the Yellow Spring River, a huge mountain was looming as if it was extremely far away. They had been traveling for 3 months, but they still hadn't reached the end of the Yellow Spring River. Moreover, the mountain was still in front of them and they didn't know how far it was. Soon. At this moment, the ancestral dragon spoke, and everyone's spirit was lifted. Was he finally here? Look, that mountain is gone. Not good, there's a vortex in front. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. In front of him, the mountain had disappeared. In its place was an incomparably huge vortex. All the water of the netherworld was flowing into that vortex. Could this be the end of the Yellow Springs? Chapter 2460. The human race of Netherworld Mountain. At the end of the Yellow Spring River was a huge vortex. The huge warship looked like a tiny ant in front of the vortex. Boom, boom, boom. Deafening rumbles rang out. The current was too fast, forming a terrifying suction force that acted on the warship, trying to suck it in. Not good, let's go. Many people's expressions changed drastically. They wanted to take to the air and leave this place. The Yellow Springs water was so powerful that even a heavenly emperor would be in danger if he were to be swept into it. Those below the heavenly emperor realm would definitely die. If they were sucked into this vortex, they would be dead. Hold on. We can only enter Netherworld Mountain through this vortex. At this moment, the ancestral dragon shouted. His voice was like a bell that rang in everyone's hearts. Everyone managed to calm down. The ancestral dragon would not harm them. The Outlander race's divine ancestor managed to suppress the commotion. Boom, boom, boom. The two sky-reaching battleships were swept into the Yellow Springs vortex and disappeared. Lu Ming and the rest felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on them. Their surroundings were pitch black and they could not see anything at all. They could not even hear a sound. It was silent all around. Wah. The next moment they seemed to have passed through something, and the light around them suddenly brightened. At this moment Lu Ming's eyes widened. He had a shocking discovery. At this moment they were high up in the sky and not on the sky-connecting warship. They had no idea where the warship had gone. All of them, including the non-humans, were thrown down by an extremely powerful force. Even Lu Ming found it difficult to resist this power. Below them there was a huge mountain. They were falling towards the mountain. In the beginning the mountain didn't look very big. However, as they got closer to the mountain looked bigger and bigger. All of them had deviated from their original course and were getting further and further away from each other. Little Qing. Lu Ming saw that Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Bubbles and the rest were getting further and further away from him. They were flying to different locations on the mountain. The speed at which they were falling was getting faster and faster because a terrifying gravitational force was coming from the mountain. What a huge mountain! The closer he got to the mountain, the more he realized how huge, terrifying, and majestic it was. From a distance, it didn't seem like much. But when they got closer, they realized that any protrusion or flat ground on this mountain was a vast and boundless plain. Big, it was too big. This mountain really was like a huge world. As they got closer and closer, they could even see large rivers and huge cities. All of them had landed in different positions. Lu Ming could no longer see Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the others. He looked up and could only see a few figures who were very far away from him. Bus. Lu Ming landed on the edge of the mountain. As he got closer, he realized that there was a dense forest below him. A terrifying force of gravity pulled Lu Ming towards the forest. What a terrifying gravity! On this mountain, the gravity is thousands of times stronger than the outside world. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He activated the world energy, stabilized his body, and fell toward the forest. Boom! Lu Ming landed heavily in a forest, creating a huge pit on the ground. The powerful shock wave shattered the ancient trees in the surroundings. Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief. He had finally arrived at Netherworld Mountain. The origin energy here. No, this isn't origin energy. The next moment, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He discovered that the heaven and earth here was filled with a type of energy. It was not the original Qi, but an energy of a higher grade than the original Qi. Its quality was higher than the original Qi, and he could also absorb and refine it. The effect was at least 10 times better than the original Qi. Lu Ming was shocked. This meant that the speed of his cultivation here was much faster than in the outside world. Although it might not be 10 times faster, it would be at least 5 times faster. What is the origin of this Netherworld Mountain? The cultivation conditions are actually so much better than the Heaven Realm? Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts. Bus. Whoosh. At this moment, lights and shadows flickered in the surroundings. The next moment, many figures appeared and surrounded Lu Ming. Human. At the sight of these figures, Lu Ming was shocked. These figures were all humans. There were more than 30 of them and their cultivation was shockingly high. All of them were at the Great Emperor realm. More than 30 great emperors had appeared. Even in the Heaven realm they were a powerful force. More than 30 people glared at Lu Ming with killing intent in their eyes. They gritted their teeth and wished they could cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Lu Ming could not figure it out. He had just arrived and did not offend these people. Why were they looking at him with fierce expressions? In particular, there was a young lady among them who was as beautiful as a flower. She was looking at Lu Ming with resentment as if he had done something outrageous. Kid, who are you? Why did you stop us from capturing the Jade Blood Fox? One of the burly men glared at Lu Ming, his body exuding a powerful aura. He was a 5-star Great Emperor and he was very powerful. Disrupt your capture of the Jade Blood Fox? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He didn't. He had just arrived. You're still playing dumb? We spent 3 months to lure the Jade Blood Fox here. We were about to catch it, but you descended from the sky and caused such a huge commotion, scaring it away. You're still denying it? The woman glared at Lu Ming hatefully and said through gritted teeth. Ah. Lu Ming finally understood. He had just descended from the sky and the other party happened to be here to capture a Jade Blood Fox, and he had just so happened to scare the other party away. This was too much of a coincidence. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He was really speechless. Everyone, I really didn't do it on purpose. I'm willing to compensate for the losses I caused. Lu Ming said. Compensation? Oh. Jade Blood Foxes are extremely rare and difficult to catch. Can you catch one? The young woman continued to speak with hatred. Miss, why bother talking nonsense with him? I think he was sent by MOU to disrupt our capture of the Jade Blood Fox. The 5-star Great Emperor Realm burly man said angrily. That's right, they must have been sent by MOU. It must be. He doesn't want us to cure the master. The others also roared in anger. In my opinion, we should capture him first and interrogate him. A white-haired elder charged at Lu Ming. He reached out his hand and a huge claw was aimed at Lu Ming. This old man had the cultivation of 2-star Great Emperor. This cultivation system. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then he gathered a little energy and pointed his finger. Lu Ming was very curious about the cultivation methods of these people and wanted to test them. Therefore he did not use his full strength and only used a trace of his strength. Chapter 2461 Capturing the Eyed Blood Fox. Bang. Lu Ming's finger touched the other party's claw. After a loud boom, the other party's body shook violently and he flew backward. He kept retreating and his face was a little pale. This kind of training method is somewhat similar to the primordial training system, but not exactly. It's more similar to Little Qing's training method, but it's far less exquisite than Little Qing's. Lu Ming's mind was racing. This kid is quite capable. We'll take him down. A middle-aged woman said. This middle-aged woman was tall and strong, but she used a large saber. The blade was faster than the palm. Bus. Whoosh. The middle-aged woman moved and pounced toward Lu Ming. She slashed hundreds of times in an instant. The dazzling saber light was about to annihilate Lu Ming. There was only pure power on each blade light. There was no fluctuation of nomological laws or great Tao. Lu Ming moved like a butterfly, shuttling back and forth between the knife lights, sensing the other party's cultivation path in detail. The middle-aged woman was a 4-star Great Emperor. Her expression changed. She shouted and unleashed all of her strength. She slashed her saber at Lu Ming. However, they could not even touch the corner of Lu Ming's clothes. Lu Ming always dodged them exquisitely. At the side, the other people's faces all became serious. Let's attack together and take him down. The 5-star Great Emperor ordered. This person had the highest cultivation level among this group of people. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed was too powerful. Even a 4-star Great Emperor was fooled by him. Even if he were to take action personally, he was afraid that he would not be able to do anything to Lu Ming. Therefore he had asked everyone to attack together. Attack, die. Big River shouted softly and pounced at Lu Ming first. He struck out with his palm and the force of his palm was overwhelming. At the same time the other 30+ people also made their moves. Of course, except for the young woman who was not a Great Emperor. The combined attack of more than 30 Great Emperors was shockingly powerful. All kinds of attacks were aimed at Lu Ming from all directions. Let's stop here. Lu Ming muttered. A purple gold light flashed on his body and he instantly struck more than 30 times. Bang, bang. There were more than 30 consecutive explosions. More than 30 silhouettes retreated frantically. Each and every one of them was pale as they stared at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming had only used one move and he had instantly repelled them. They understood that Lu Ming was too powerful, far above them. Lu Ming had been merciful just now. Otherwise they would have all died. The young woman's eyes were brimming with tears. She stared at Lu Ming and said, "Why is MOU so ruthless? My father is already seriously injured. Why don't you let us cure him? Did you capture that Jade Blood Fox to treat someone's injuries?" Lu Ming asked. "You're still acting dumb. Don't you know that MOU sent you here? Mou injured my father, and only the blood of the jade blood fox can cure my father's injuries," the young woman said. On the other hand, the burly man and the rest surrounded the young lady cautiously to prevent Lu Ming from attacking her. "Where is the jade blood fox? Perhaps I can help you catch it." Lu Ming touched his nose and said. After all, he was the one who disturbed the other party's capture of the jade blood fox. He was a little embarrassed. Moreover, if he could help the other party capture the jade blood fox, he would definitely win their favor. Lu Ming had just arrived and needed to find out more information through the people in Netherworld Mountain. "You'll help us. Although your cultivation is high, it's impossible for you to catch a jade blood fox. A jade blood fox comes and goes without a trace, doesn't have a fixed residence, and is extremely fast. It's very difficult to find a trace of it unless you use the jade blood grass to attract it. However, the jade blood grass is too rare. Do you know how much effort we spent to buy one? Where can we get the jade blood grass now?" The young woman was on the verge of tears as she spoke. She looked at Lu Ming with hidden bitterness. "What? Jade blood grass? Rare?" Lu Ming was stunned. He remembered that there was also a spiritual herb in the heaven realm called the jade blood herb. Although it was not common, it was very common. Lu Ming had at least a few hundred of them. Could it be that they only had the same name? Lu Ming was a little uncertain. "Miss, the jade blood grass you mentioned, is it this kind?" Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. A spiritual herb appeared in his hand and he showed it to the young lady. The young woman and the others widened their eyes. "Jade blood grass? You also have jade blood grass? Can you sell this jade blood grass to us?" After the young woman finished speaking, she stuck out her tongue and secretly scolded herself for being stupid. The other party had come specifically to disrupt their capture of the jade blood fox, so why would he sell them the jade blood grass? He was probably here to make them angry. Many thoughts flashed through the young woman's mind. But the next moment, her eyes suddenly widened. This was because there was a continuous flash of light in Lu Ming's hand. A pile of jade blood grass appeared. There were dozens of them. So many? How is that possible? The young woman was dumbfounded. The others weren't any better. Although the jade blood grass was not a high-level spiritual grass, it was very rare. They had spent a lot of effort to buy one and they had already used it up. However, Lu Ming took out dozens of them at once, making them think that they were dreaming. "There's no need to sell it. Since I'm the one who disturbed you guys from capturing the jade blood fox, I should atone for my sins by helping you guys capture the jade blood fox." Lu Ming smiled. "Are you really going to help us? Are you really not sent by Mou?" The young woman asked. "Of course not. I really landed here unintentionally. Previously I was fighting with an enemy in the sky, but I was no match for him and was blasted down bv him." Lu Ming told a lie. "I see. It seems like we have wronged you. I'm sorry." The young woman stuck out her tongue and smiled, looking very cute. "Then let's start. How do I use the jade blood grass?" Lu Ming asked. "It'll be fine as long as it's ignited. Once the jade blood grass is ignited, it will emit a strange smell that will attract the jade blood fox. However, we have to change our location. We have just disturbed it here. The jade blood fox is extremely cautious, and I'm afraid it won't come a second time. Let's go ahead," the young woman said. "All right." Lu Ming nodded and flew forward. The gravity here was too strong. It was thousands of times stronger than the heaven realm. As a result, flying here was thousands of times more laborious and naturally the speed was much slower. The young woman and the other 30-odd people also rose into the air and followed Lu Ming. "My name is Su Rong. What's your name?" the young woman asked on the way. "Lu Ming." Lu Ming answered. In a short while they had flown tens of thousands of miles, planning to catch the jade blood fox here. Lu Ming immediately ignited 10 stalks of jade blood grass, causing Su Rong and the rest to feel heartache. The jade blood grass emitted a strange smell that spread far away. As for Lu Ming and the rest, they retreated 100 miles and surrounded the area. They then waited quietly. Chapter 2462 Fengming Country. The jade blood grass was very resistant to fire and burned very slowly. One jade blood grass could burn for 10 days. They had waited for a full 6 days. Suddenly, there was a red bolt of lightning in the forest in front of them. It shot towards the burning jade blood grass at an extremely fast speed. It was not lightning. Lu Ming could see clearly that it was a blood-red fox. It was very small, less than half a meter long. "They're here." Su Rong's eyes lit up. "Attack!" the burly man shouted. Then more than 30 people pounced on the jade blood fox from all directions, forming an encirclement. The jade blood fox was frightened and let out a few shrieks. Its four limbs stretched out and it retreated like a bolt of lightning. Stop! In that direction a few great Emperor Realm powerhouses shouted. Their power formed a huge hand that grabbed at the jade blood fox. The jade blood fox charged left and right, but all its escape routes were blocked. There was no way out. The jade blood fox screeched and suddenly leaped. Its body turned into a sword light and rushed over. Plop! One of the great Emperor's hand was pierced through by the jade blood fox. The fox rushed past it and turned into a bolt of lightning, leaving at top speed. Not good, quickly chase! Su Rong shouted. The other people's faces were also unsightly. This jade blood fox didn't match the rumors. It was rumored that jade blood foxes were extremely cautious and didn't have a fixed residence. They came and went without a trace and were extremely fast. However, their cultivation wasn't high and their combat strength wasn't too strong. A great emperor was enough to deal with them. However, the jade blood fox was able to transform into a sword beam and break through a great emperor's attack. This was something they had not expected. They pursued madly, but the jade blood fox was even faster than them. It was like a red bolt of lightning, rapidly flying into the distance and about to escape. This time, the jade blood fox had been surrounded and was escaping. With its cautious nature, it would be extremely difficult to attract it over. Su Rong was on the verge of tears. At this moment, a figure rushed out at an extremely fast speed. It was even faster than the jade blood fox and disappeared in the blink of an eye. So fast! Su Rong and the rest were stunned because the person who had rushed out was Lu Ming. Hope rose in their hearts. They hoped that Lu Ming would be able to catch it. They gritted their teeth and gave chase. After a while they saw Lu Ming stepping on the air in front of them. He was holding a blood-red little fox in his hand and it was struggling non-stop. It was the jade blood fox. I caught it, I caught it. Su Rong jumped up in excitement and the others were also overjoyed. Miss Su, I'm glad I didn't fail you. Lu Ming smiled and passed the jade blood fox to Su Rong. Lu Ming, thank you. It's all thanks to you this time. Su Rong was so excited that her face turned red. She quickly took the jade blood fox and kept it in a jade bottle. Her father was saved and her face was full of smiles. Lu Ming, where are you going next? Su Rong asked. To be honest, I was just about to ask. Where is this place? Lu Ming asked. You don't know where we are? Su Rong was curious. I actually came from a distant place. I was chased by someone and I was running for my life. I don't even know where I am now. Lu Ming gave a bitter smile. This is the 10-square forest of Fengming country. Our Su family is in Great Ming City, which is one of the big cities in Fengming country. Su Rong said. Great Ming City, country of Fengming? Lu Ming muttered. The ancestral dragon said that there were tens of thousands of countries in Netherworld Mountain, and it seemed like it was true. Lu Ming, since you're not from here, why don't you return to Great Ming City with us first and then think of a way to go back? Su Rong said. We can only do this for now. Lu Ming pretended to be helpless and nodded. Su Rong was overjoyed. Then a group of people appeared and returned to the Great Ming City. The 10-square forest was not too far from the Great Ming City. It was only 1,000,000 miles away. However, the flying speed here was much slower. It took them a few hours to reach the Great Ming City. Great Ming City was a majestic city. It was very huge and could be ranked in the top 20 even in the vast country of Fengming. On the way, Lu Ming also learned from Su Rong how her father was injured. Her father had challenged a man called Mou and was injured by him. As for Mou, he was the guard of a commander in Fengming. Along the way, Su Rong talked a lot to Lu Ming. Fengming country advocated martial strength and used martial strength to rule the country. Under the Fengming country's king, there were 13 commanders. Each of them led a large army and guarded a region. They were all extremely powerful existences. The Great Ming City was under the rule of one of the commanders. Under this commander there were 18 guards. Mou was one of the guards under this commander and his combat strength was very strong. However, there was a rule in Fengming country. All status was based on strength and it could be fought for with strength. As long as he could defeat his opponent, he would be able to replace his opponent's position. For example, if they defeated or even killed Mou, they could replace him and become the guard of that commander. They would be high and mighty and run amok in an area. My father didn't covet the position of the other party's commander and guard. He was forced by Mou to challenge him. In the end, Su Rong sighed. Oh, what's going on? Lu Ming asked. Mou set up a bet with my big brother and he lost in the end. He's in debt and even if I sell the entire Su family I can't pay off those debts. Su Rong sighed. Lu Ming nodded. He roughly understood. The group walked through the city gate and headed in the direction of the Su family. There are so many races? Lu Ming was shocked the moment he entered the city. Within the city, the streets were wide and people were coming and going. However, it wasn't just the human race. There were also other races. For example, they had horns on their heads and were of a race similar to humans. There were also races that had long tails, and races that had human-shaped upper bodies but snake-like lower bodies. These races were definitely not formed by the divine beasts, but were born like this. Lu Ming looked around and saw at least 4 to 5 races. These races did not exist in the heaven realm, primordial realm, or evil god realm. The ancestral dragon said that Netherworld Mountain came from beyond the heavens. Could these be the races from beyond the heavens? Lu Ming pondered. Then he thought of the statue at the core of the Void God Island. That statue had a pair of wings on its back. It was also a race that had never been seen before. Was there any connection between all these? However, Lu Ming realized that the number of humans was the highest. After passing through a few streets, a huge mansion appeared in front of them. This mansion was the Su family. However, at this moment, the Su family's residence was surrounded by people. What's going on? The faces of Su Rong and the others changed and they rushed over. It's Su Rong. Many people saw Su Rong and quickly made way for her. Chapter 2463 Commander Guard Lu Ming and the group walked through the crowd and discovered that there were 2 groups of people in a confrontation at the entrance of the Su family. One of the groups was led by a burly man in iron armor. His eyes were ferocious. Beside him was a group of armored experts from different races. All of them had powerful auras and were great Emperor Realm experts. "MOU!" Su Rong shouted. The brawny man heard the voice and looked over. When he saw Su Rong, he laughed. "So it's the young lady of the Su family. You've come back just in time." This burly man was MOU. Opposite MOU and the others was another group of people. The leader was a man who looked to be in his 60s. However, his chi was extremely weak, dispirited, and his face was pale. It was obvious that he had been seriously injured. "Ronger, quickly come over." The man in his 60s shouted. "Father, how are you?" Su Rong quickly ran over and said worriedly. This man was Su Rong's father, Su Yuanshan. I'm fine. Su Yuanshan said, but after a few words, his face turned pale and he gasped for breath. "MOU, what are you doing in my Su family again?" Su Rong glared at MOU. "What are you doing? Your big brother still owes me a lot of divine stones. Of course I'm here to collect the debt." MOU sneered. When he looked at Su Rong, a fiery light flashed in the depths of his eyes. "How many immortal stones does my big brother owe you?" MOU said. 800,000 divine stones. MOU said. "You. I only owe you 300,000 yuan. A young man beside Su Yuanshan shouted. This young man was Su Rong's elder brother, Su Feng. "You don't want interest? You've been in debt for a year. With interest it's 800,000. MOU said with a cold smile. "An increase of 500,000 yuan in a year? Why don't you just rob someone?" Su Rong shouted angrily. "This is the rule here. It's only right to pay back what you owe. Hurry up and return it?" MOU scolded. 800,000 divine stones. Even if I sell the entire Su family, it won't be enough. Su Yuanshan said. Su Rong's older brother did not dare to speak. He lowered his head. "Not enough? Sure. Miss Su Rong is a beautiful woman. You can give her to me. Your Su family and Miss Su Rong will be enough. As for the rest, I won't care about it," MOU said. He looked at Su Rong with a burning gaze. Su Rong's face turned pale. "You don't even think about having any ideas about Rong?" Su Yuanshan roared. "Don't even think? Since you can't, then don't blame me for being impolite," MOU said ferociously. A terrifying aura emanated from his body. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. MOU's cultivation was at the peak Emperor realm. MOU's subordinates also burst out with a powerful aura and pressed down on the Su family. The people of the Su family couldn't resist at all, especially Su Yuanshan. Under the pressure of the other party's aura, his body staggered back. His face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Father." Su Rong was extremely worried. Su Yuanshan was already seriously injured, and now that he was even more injured, he would be in danger if this continued. "If you don't do as I say, the Su family will be destroyed today," MOU said coldly. Around them no one spoke. Fengming country was founded on martial arts, and everything was spoken with martial arts. The strong stood in high positions and the weak were like ants. It was extremely cruel. If the Su family had the strength to kill Mou, the commander would not say anything. Mou, you want die a good death. Su Rong cursed. Humph, who can kill me? Mou said ferociously. Me. At this moment, a voice rang out and reverberated throughout the entire area. Many people were shocked. Who dared to be so bold as to say that he could kill Mou? Mou's eyes were filled with cold killing intent as he followed the voice and looked at the speaker. Finally, his gaze landed on Lu Ming. The person who spoke just now was Lu Ming. Kid, you say? You want to kill me? Mou enunciated each word. His murderous intent was as cold as a knife. He looked at Lu Ming as if he was looking at a dead man. It seems like you're not deaf. I heard that as long as I challenge you and defeat you, I can take your place and become the commander's guard? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Hee hee, you want to become the commander's guard? You're quite ambitious. Let me tell you it's true. Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Mou said ferociously. Lu Ming don't. Mou has the cultivation of the peak of the void interpretation stage. Moreover, his strength is the best among those at the peak of the void interpretation stage. Su Rong sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. She was very worried. Profound void martial stage? Wasn't it the great emperor? Could it be that Netherworld Mountain's realm division is different from the Heaven Realm and Evil God Realm? Lu Ming's heart stirred. However, now was not the time to ask for details. Mou, I'm officially challenging you now. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Lu Ming shouted directly. Lu Ming had his own plan. The local forces in Netherworld Mountain were extremely powerful. There were even martial god realm experts who wanted to obtain opportunities in Netherworld Mountain and even kill the alien races. They had to borrow power. It borrowed the power of the living beings of Netherworld Mountain. This way, not only could he exterminate the alien races, but he could also obtain resources. It would be difficult to rely on himself. He believed that the other races would do the same. Now it was up to who was faster. He would first become the commander of the guards and then continue to climb up. When he had a certain amount of power in Fengming, he could use the power of Fengming to find the Heaven Realm creatures and foreign race powerhouses. Gathering all the living beings in the Heaven Realm, killing the foreign races and finding opportunities. Challenge Mou? Many people in the surroundings were stunned. Su Yuanshan and the others were also stunned. Lu Ming looked so young and he wanted to challenge Mou. He was too bold. Lu Ming, Su Rong was worried. Although Lu Ming was powerful and had defeated more than 30 experts with one move, Mou was an expert at the peak of the void interpretation stage. His subordinates could not compare to him. You want to challenge me? Mou's eyes flickered continuously, revealing a cold light. What's wrong? You don't dare to? Lu Ming said in disdain. Haha brat, why wouldn't I dare? However, let me see your strength. If you don't have some strength, why would any random cat or dog come to challenge me? How would I have so much time? Mou sneered. Lord Protector, let me test his strength. Behind Mou, a burly man in iron armor walked out. This burly man had a pair of horns on his head that were as sharp as blades. Alright, you can try. You can kill him directly. Mou said coldly. Your subordinate understands. The bullhorn man said coldly. He then walked toward Lu Ming with a battle axe in his hand. Kid, make your move. Buzz. As soon as the bullhorn man finished speaking, Lu Ming moved. A spear ray shot towards the bullhorn man at an extremely fast speed. Before the bullhorn man could react, he was pinned to the ground by Lu Ming's spear radiance. Chapter 2464 One-shot kill. It was an instant kill. Many people were stunned. The bullhorn man's cultivation base was not weak. He was at the 5th stage of the insightful emptiness realm, but he was actually killed in an instant? When many people looked at Lu Ming, the coldness in their eyes was completely different from just now. Lu Ming's ability to kill the bullhorn man with one move was enough to show that he could not be underestimated. Mou's eyes also narrowed slightly, a trace of solemnness flashing through them. Can I challenge you now? Lu Ming's gaze turned to Mou. You have some ability. A fierce light flashed in Mou's eyes. With a wave of his hand, a blood-red saber appeared in his hand, emitting a bloody smell. From this, it could be seen that many people had died in Mou's hands. Little brother, you have to make him take out his guard token. That way, if you defeat him, you can obtain the position of commander guard. Su Yuanshan reminded him. Humph, you think he can defeat me? Mou snorted coldly, but he still followed the rules and took out the guard token, putting it on his belt. Make your move. Mou said ferociously. You should make the first move. I'll give you a chance to make a move, Lu Ming said. What he meant was that once he made his move he would have no chance. Mou's expression turned ugly, revealing a cold killing intent. Since you're looking for death, I'll fulfill your wish. Bang. Mou's figure was like a bolt of lightning, rushing toward Lu Ming and slashing the saber in his hand. It was fast, accurate, and powerful. Lu Ming stood still. In his palm, the power of domination condensed into a long spear, which he held in front of him. Clang. Mou's saber stood on Lu Ming's long spear. Lu Ming's body was as steady as Mount Tai and he did not move. The huge rebound force made Mou's body shake violently and he retreated continuously. His combat strength is indeed powerful. Lu Ming's heart stirred. In the heaven realm, Mou's fighting power was considered strong even among peak great emperors. There were strong and weak cultivators in the same realm. Mou was considered strong among peak great emperors. However, it was nothing in Lu Ming's eyes. At this moment, Mou was extremely shocked. He had used all his strength in that move just now, intending to kill Lu Ming in one move. However, the final result was that Lu Ming did not move at all. Instead, he was forced to retreat. At this moment, he understood that Lu Ming's ability was above his. No, I can't just give up my position as a guard for nothing. Mou roared in his heart. In Fengming country there were a total of 13 commanders. Each of them led an army and held a high position. And each commander only had 18 guards. One could imagine how great the power of this position was. It was hard to come by and he did not want to give it up. But he turned around and ran. He had actually fled without fighting. Since you've already accepted the challenge, don't you think it's too late to run? Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. His muscles trembled and his body rushed towards Mou like lightning. The long spear in his hand was thrust out at an extremely fast speed. Mou was shocked. He wanted to turn around to defend but it was too late. The long spear pierced through Mou's head and killed him. Mou's body fell heavily to the ground. His eyes were wide open and he died with grievances. He had come this time with the intention of taking the Su family into his own pocket and taking the Su family's beautiful young lady under his belt. He had not expected to lose his life here. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and the guard token on Mou's belt flew into his hand. Mou's men all looked frightened and then turned to run, scattering in a hubbub. Mou is dead. At first, Su Rong, Su Yuanshan and the others were stunned but then they became ecstatic. Now that Mou was dead, the divine stones that Big Brother Su Rong owed Mou would naturally be gone. No one would find trouble with them anymore so they were naturally happy. Thank you, Brother Lu Ming, for saving me. Su Yuanshan had already learned of Lu Ming's name from Su Rong and came over to express his gratitude. You're too polite. I only made a move because I wanted to get the position of his guard. Lu Ming smiled, then picked up the token in his hand and asked, Senior, how do I use this token? That's simple. As long as you take this token and meet the Lord Commander, as long as the Lord Commander agrees, you will naturally be able to inherit the position of the Commander's guard. Under normal circumstances, the Lord Commander will agree because the stronger you are, the more beneficial it is to the Lord Commander. Su Yuanshan explained. Back then, when Mou had forced the Su family, Su Yuanshan had challenged Mou, hoping to defeat him and get his guard position. In this way, the Su family's crisis could be resolved. Unfortunately, he was not Mou's match and was instead seriously injured by Mou. Father, it's all thanks to Lu Ming that we were able to capture the Jade Blood Fox. Su Rong said. You caught the Jade Blood Fox? Su Yuanshan was overjoyed. He then thanked Lu Ming solemnly. Lu Ming was really the benefactor of the Su family. First, he helped them catch the Jade Blood Fox and his injuries could be treated. Then he killed Mou. Without Lu Ming, the Su family would really be finished. He was very grateful to Lu Ming. Brother Lu Ming, come in and have a seat. Men, prepare a banquet. Su Yuanshan welcomed Lu Ming into the Su family and instructed the servants to prepare a banquet. The surrounding onlookers also dispersed. All of this was not surprising to them. In the country of Fengming, such challenges were common. Not only were there people challenging the guards of the commanders, there were even people challenging the commanders. The Su family treated Lu Ming warmly as a distinguished guest. After that, Lu Ming stayed at the Su family for a few days. He read through the huge amount of information that the Su family had collected and had a better understanding of Nether Mountain. There were many races in Netherworld Mountain. There were the bull-headed race, the scaled race, the serpent-men race and so on. There were dozens of races of all sizes. Moreover, the cultivation realm in Netherworld Mountain was very different from that in the Heaven realm. The first few stages were basically the same, but after reaching the Martial Emperor realm, it was very different. The Martial Emperor realm in Netherworld Mountain was divided into the Void Prying stage, True Void stage, Void Interpretation stage, and Void Transformation stage. Each stage was divided into 7 stages. They corresponded to the Void Emperor, the True Emperor, the Great Emperor, and the Heavenly Emperor. For example, MOU was at the peak of the Void realm, which was the same as a peak Great Emperor. As for the living beings of Netherworld Mountain, they didn't cultivate any nomological laws or great Taos. They didn't even come into contact with the Heavenly Tao. What they cultivated was pure power. Above the Transformation Void Martial stage was the God realm, also known as God. This point was exactly like what the ancestral dragon had said. The living beings here called Netherworld Mountain the Netherworld world. Within the Yellow Springs world, there were hundreds of factions and countries, each occupying a region and ruling a region. As for the country of Fengming, it was only a small country on the edge of the Yellow Springs world. In addition, Lu Ming also saw the records about the Cursed Land. There were some places in the Yellow Springs world that the living beings here could not enter at all. If they entered, they would die. The living beings of the Yellow Springs world called them the Cursed Lands. Chapter 2465. The First Guard, the Cursed Land. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The Cursed Land was the place they were looking for. The people of Netherworld Mountain couldn't enter, because they had been cursed for generations. However, outsiders could enter. There might be opportunities in there. Moreover, Lu Ming was overjoyed to find out that there was such a cursed land in Fengming country. It was in the capital of Fengming country. It seems that I made the right choice by choosing to be the commander's guard. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Lu Ming stayed at the Su family for 2 days. Under Su Rong's reluctant gaze, he bade them farewell. After that, Lu Ming walked towards the Great Ming City's governor's manor. The commander who was guarding this place was called Yi Yang. It could be said that he was the most powerful person in the Great Ming City. He ruled dozens of nearby cities and had millions of troops. The governor's manor was located at the center of the Great Ming City. Not long after, a vast mansion appeared before Lu Ming's eyes. At the gate of the mansion, there was a group of big men in iron armor standing guard. "Who's there?" "Stop." Lu Ming was stopped the moment he arrived. "I want to see Commander Yi Yang." The guard token appeared in Lu Ming's hands. The commander's guard command token. The guard's expression changed, then he smiled and said, "So you have a guard token. Sir, please wait a moment. Well, report this to the commander." Since Lu Ming had a guard token, it meant that he had defeated a guard and was very likely to inherit that guard's position. In that case, his status would be far above theirs. Naturally, they did not dare to offend Lu Ming. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. He kept the guard token and waited quietly. After a long while, the guard came out and reported, "The commander wants to see you. Please follow me." Then he turned around and walked inside. Lu Ming followed him into the commander's residence. They passed through several corridors and courtyards before they arrived at a large hall. At the entrance of the hall, the burly man who was guarding the door did not dare to enter. He gestured for Lu Ming to enter while he himself retreated. Lu Ming stepped into the hall and realized that it was already full of people. At the head of the table sat a middle-aged man with a sinister face. His eyes were long and narrow, and when he opened and closed them, he gave off a cold and gloomy feeling. However, what attracted Lu Ming's attention the most was the lower half of the person's body. The lower half of this person's body was a snake's tail. It was a serpent man, and the aura on his body was extremely shocking. Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming could immediately sense that this person's cultivation was at the Celestial Emperor, which was the void transformation stage of the Netherworld. On both sides of the hall, there were more than 10 people sitting. There were men and women, old and middle-aged. All of them had powerful auras and were peak emperors. This must be the commander and his guards. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He then stepped forward and cupped his fists. "Damn Lu Ming. Greetings, Commander." "You killed MOU?" Yang asked from the seat of honor. "Not bad." Lu Ming nodded. "Take out your guard token and let me take a look," Yang said. Lu Ming nodded. He waved his hand and the guard token appeared in his hand. "Lord Commander, may I ask if I can inherit the position of Protector?" Lu Ming asked. What a joke. You want to inherit the position of Protector? The one who spoke was not Commander Yi Yang, but a middle-aged man sitting on the left. He had a pair of bull horns and eyes as big as copper bells. "According to the rules, I can inherit MOU's position after killing him. Why can't I inherit the position of a guard? Lu Ming asked. Ridiculous. I received news that you attacked Mou from behind. Otherwise you wouldn't have been his match. Such a despicable person wants to inherit the position of guard. It's ridiculous. Now you dare to come here. Well, today I'll avenge Mou. The bull-headed man said coldly. He stepped forward and his powerful aura pressed toward Lu Ming. This bull-headed man was named Blue. He had a very good relationship with Mou. He was also the strongest among the 18 guards under Yi Yang. He had received news that Mou had been killed by Lu Ming's sneak attack from behind. He was furious and was about to avenge Mou. He did not expect Lu Ming to come to his door. Yi Yang sat at the head of the table with a sneer on the corner of his mouth, but he didn't stop them. He had also received the news that Mou had been stabbed to death by Lu Ming from behind. He also wanted to see if Lu Ming had the ability. If he did not, Blue would have killed him for nothing. I'm afraid you're a bit lacking. Lu Ming cast a casual glance at Blue. Lu Ming didn't care about a peak great emperor no matter how strong he was. You're a despicable man who only knows how to sneak attack me from behind. How dare you be so arrogant? Whirlwind kill. A wide battle axe appeared in Blue's hands. He raised the battle axe and charged at Lu Ming. In the process of charging towards Lu Ming, Blue's entire body began to spin rapidly, bringing along his battle axe. Like a whirlwind, he swept towards Lu Ming with astonishing power. Whirlwind kill, it's whirlwind kill. Big Brother Blue has used a killing move from the start. That kid is finished. Big Brother Blue has used his killing move. Not many people at the profound void martial stage can fight against him. That kid is dead for sure. He will be ground into mincemeat. The other guards sneered coldly as if they were watching a show. They seemed to have already seen the scene of Lu Ming being strangled to death. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming made his move. He took a step forward and threw a punch. The entire hall rumbled. Thump. Lu Ming's fist collided with Blue's battle axe, creating a loud boom. Blue's battle axe was then sent flying far away. Then a shrill cry was heard. Blue's burly body was crushed by Lu Ming's fist force and flew far away. He fell heavily on the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. With just one move, Blue had been severely injured. In the hall, gasps could be heard. The guards widened their eyes in disbelief. Blue was the strongest among them. However, he was defeated by Lu Ming in one move after he had used his killing move. Lu Ming's combat strength was shocking. They understood that Lu Ming did not need a sneak attack to kill Mou. He could easily kill Mou in a head-on battle. Just this little bit of battle power? I thought he would be very strong, how disappointing. Lu Ming shook his head and cast a disdainful glance at Blue. Just now he had shown mercy for Yi Yang's sake. Otherwise, with one punch, Blue would have been reduced to nothing. Blue was so angry that he spat out 2 more mouthfuls of blood. He was so embarrassed he wanted to die. Haha, good. You're Lu Ming, right? From now on you'll be my guard, my first guard. On the seat of honor, Yi Yang laughed out loud, his eyes revealing his excitement. Chapter 2465 Commander's Assembly 3. Many thanks, Commander. Lu Ming cupped his fist. Alright, you'll live in Mou's mansion in the future. If there's anything you need, feel free to tell me. Yang said with a smile. Alright. Lu Ming nodded. Congratulations, Guard Lu. Congratulations, Brother Lu. At the side, the other guards were all smiling as they congratulated Lu Ming. It was the complete opposite of the situation just now. Now, Lu Ming had proven his ability and was highly regarded by Yi Yang. He was called the first guard by Yi Yang. Of course, they had to build a good relationship with Lu Ming. As for Blue, let him go to the side. This world was always so realistic. Blue stood at the side, his expression extremely ugly. After that, someone led Lu Ming to a place. After 2 rounds, they arrived in front of a mansion. This mansion used to be Mou's mansion and now it belonged to Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming entered the mansion, he was greeted by a group of people who bowed to him. This subordinate greets Lord Guard. There were more than 100 people who kowtowed to Lu Ming. You're free. Lu Ming nodded. These people used to be Mou's subordinates, and now they had become his subordinates. Sir Guard, what are your orders? Some people looked at Lu Ming with smiles and fawning looks. You guys go do what you need to do. Lu Ming waved his hand and dismissed the crowd. He found a room to stay in. He sat cross-legged in his room and started to cultivate. The mysterious energy between heaven and earth continued to gather toward Lu Ming. After a long while, Lu Ming opened his eyes. The effect of the path understanding ancient tree is getting smaller and smaller in my cultivation. Lu Ming muttered. He realized that ever since he had comprehended the ruler Tao, the Tao comprehension ancient tree had been of little use to him. Lu Ming seemed to be able to merge with the world and even dominate the world. He could directly comprehend the way of the dominator from the world. The effect of the path understanding ancient tree had become minimal and was not of much help to Lu Ming. The Tao comprehension ancient tree was very useful for the comprehension of laws, great Taos and heavenly Taos, but it was not very useful for the Tao of rulers. After some thought, a storage ring appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This storage ring was Mou's. Lu Ming had killed Mou and naturally obtained his storage ring. He extended his spiritual senses into it. The next moment, a few combat weapons appeared in Lu Ming's hands. What a strange weapon. Lu Ming took the combat weapon and sized it up carefully. The weapons in the Yellow Springs world were also very different from those outside. It's really amazing. Lu Ming injected the world energy into the combat weapon and sensed it carefully. He was shocked. He found that the combat weapons here were engraved with many arrays. These arrays interacted with each other and formed many wonderful functions. Once energy was injected into them, these arrays would be activated, causing the combat weapons to burst out with amazing power. Moreover, Lu Ming realized that even if he injected the world energy he could still activate the array inside. Lu Ming tried a few times and realized that these few combat weapons were equivalent to the arch weapons. None of them were equivalent to celestial the arch weapons. Thinking about it, Mou was only a great emperor, how could he have a weapon equivalent to a celestial emperor weapon? If I can get some combat weapons that are equivalent to celestial emperor weapons in the netherworld world and bring them out, the experts in the heaven realm can also use them. That will greatly enhance the strength of the heaven realm. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Then he kept the combat weapons and a glittering and translucent stone appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This stone was about the same size as a raw stone. Is this the netherworld world's divine stone? Lu Ming muttered. Then he activated his cultivation technique and absorbed the energy of the divine stone. The energy in the divine stone was exactly the same as the energy drifting between heaven and earth in Netherworld Mountain, but it was many times richer. The energy of a divine stone was absorbed by Lu Ming and was quickly refined by him, turning into his world energy. One divine stone actually contains so much energy. It's equivalent to 10,000 supreme-grade raw stones. Lu Ming was shocked. The energy of this divine stone was too much. One piece was equivalent to 10,000 supreme-grade raw stones. Lu Ming checked and found that there were 500,000 divine stones in Mou's storage ring. That was 50 billion supreme-grade raw stones. 50 billion supreme-grade raw stones was already shocking enough. Lu Ming had obtained a large number of supreme-grade raw gemstones on the Void Island. There were about 600 to 700 billion of them. Now, there was only about 100 billion left. The divine stones on Mou were equivalent to half of the raw stones on Lu Ming's body. Haha, if I can get enough godstones here, I won't have to worry about my cultivation. Lu Ming was overjoyed. His cultivation had consumed too many resources. Now he only had over 10,000 stones of chaos and 100 billion supreme-grade raw stones left. These resources were simply not enough. However, once he had enough divine stones he could do it. A cultivation breakthrough did not necessarily require chaos stones or primordial chaos stones. A single supreme-grade raw gemstone could do the same. However, the amount required was astonishing. Therefore, in the past, Lu Ming had always cultivated with the raw gemstones and the chaos stones or the primordial chaos stones. This would greatly reduce the consumption of raw gemstones. However, with more than 10,000 chaos stones, Lu Ming would probably use up all of them if he were to break through again. However, as long as he had enough divine stones he could break through. Lu Ming began to think about how he could collect more divine stones. In that case he would have enough resources for cultivation even after he left Netherworld Mountain. After tidying up his things, Lu Ming continued to cultivate and comprehend the way of the master. Time flew by and 2 months passed. The past 2 months had been very peaceful. Nothing happened. Lu Ming cultivated in peace. One day, Yang sent someone to look for Lu Ming, saying that he had something to discuss with him. It was still the same hall where Lu Ming met Yang. There were 2 other people besides Yang. One of them was Blue, who was defeated by Lu Ming. The other was a woman who looked to be in her 30s. She was very beautiful, graceful, and had a mature charm. She was full of strong temptation. This was something that was not difficult to notice from Blue's eyes that were filled with the flames of desire when he glanced at her from time to time. Lu Ming recognized the woman. She was one of Yang's guards. Her name was Liao Min. I've come to find you today for the commander's assembly. Yang went straight to the point and said his purpose. Blue and Liao Min's expressions were calm. It was obvious that they had known about this long ago. However, Lu Ming was stunned and had some doubts. Lu Ming, you don't know yet, right? Let me tell you. Yang looked at Lu Ming and said, there are a total of 13 commanders in Fengming country. Each of them is in charge of a region. However, the territory they are in charge of varies in size. The troops they command also vary in strength and strength. The ranking of the commanders is the deciding factor. The country of Fengming holds a meeting of the commanders every 100 years to determine the ranking of the commanders. In another half a month, it will be the new meeting of the commanders. Chapter 2467 Commanders gathered. Degree. Lu Ming came to a sudden realization. It seemed that Yi Yang had called them over for the commanders' assembly. Lu Ming did not say anything and waited for Yi Yang to continue. The rules of the commanders' assembly are very simple. Every commander can bring 3 guards with them to participate. At that time they will challenge each other, and the king will re-rank them according to their battle results. The 3 of you are the strongest among my guards. Therefore you will be coming with me to the capital to participate in the commanders' meeting. Yang announced. Yes. Lu Ming, Blue and Liao Min nodded. The capital? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He also wanted to go to the capital because there was a cursed land in the capital of Fengming. This was exactly what he wanted. Alright, get ready. We'll leave tomorrow. Yang said. The crowd dispersed and the day passed quickly. The next day, Yi Yang brought Lu Ming and the other 2 people as well as other guards, to the capital of Fengming country on a huge bird. After flying for 3 days, they arrived at the capital of the country of Fengming. It was a huge and vast ancient city. The capital of Fengming country was bustling with activity. Lu Ming saw even more races. Its commander Yi Yang. The moment they entered the capital, they were immediately recognized. The commanders' meeting that happens once every 100 years is coming. The capital is going to be lively again. I wonder if there will be any changes to the ranking of the various commanders this time. It's hard to say. In my opinion, the most suspenseful thing is still the battle between the first and second place. 100 years ago, the 2 commanders fought for 1,000 moves before the winner was decided. Not bad, I'm looking forward to it. While the crowd was discussing, Lu Ming and the rest passed through a few streets and arrived at a huge mansion. This mansion was the mansion that Yi Yang ruled in the capital. It was also huge and there were many experts stationed in the mansion. As soon as Yi Yang and the others arrived, someone came to welcome them and arrange their accommodation. The next thing to do was to wait for the General Assembly to begin. Time flew by quickly and more than 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. The General Assembly had arrived. Yi Yang brought Lu Ming, Bin Biu and Liao Min to the palace. When they arrived at the imperial palace, there were naturally people to receive them. They were welcomed to a wide area. This area was surrounded by rows of seats as a viewing platform. In the center there was a huge fighting stage. It was obvious that the duel would be held on that fighting ring. Haha, Yi Yang, you're early. A loud laugh was heard. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw 4 people flying over from another direction. The one in the lead was an old man with a horn on his forehead. He looked at Yi Yang with a cold smile. You're not too late either. Yi Yang said coldly. Yi Yang, this time I will definitely take your place. The old man sneered. You're still far from it. Yi Yang sneered and confronted each other. Cold auras emanated from both of them as they collided in the air. Of course, they understood that now was not the time to fight. They all snorted coldly and found their seats on the stands. That old man is called the commander of Border City. He's ranked 10th among the 13 commanders, while our commander is ranked 9th. That guy has always wanted to replace our commander's position. Liao Min explained to Lu Ming via voice transmission. Along the way, Liao Min was closer to Lu Ming. She frequently expressed her goodwill to Lu Ming and looked at him with flirtatious eyes. This caused Blue, who was standing at the side, to feel extremely jealous. Oh, no wonder. Lu Ming nodded and smiled at Liao Min. At this moment people kept flying over. All of them were commanders, with each of them leading 3 guards. Liao Min also introduced them to Lu Ming. It's Luo Mo Tong and Commander Yu Zhan. The 2 of them are here together. Suddenly, Liao Min spoke in a serious tone. Lu Ming also looked over. The 2 sides had 4 people each. The most eye-catching ones were naturally the 2 people walking in front. One of them was a middle-aged man in a white robe. He was a human. The other one had a pair of black wings on his back and his eyes were cold. Through Liao Min's introduction, Lu Ming learned that the middle-aged man in the white robe was Commander Yu Zhan, who ranked first among the 13 commanders. The one with the black wings was the second-ranked Commander Rama. These two were extremely powerful and had been fighting each other for countless years. The strength of the two of them was about the same, but overall, Yu Zhan's commander was slightly better, so he was always ranked first. There were rumors that this time, Commander Luoma wanted to pull down Commander Yu Zhan's throne and replace him. Their gazes met, creating intense sparks as they sat down in their seats. These two people have deep cultivation. Lu Ming sized up the other party and realized that their cultivation was very profound. They were probably far above Yang. Then Lu Ming sized up the guards that the other party had brought. Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming realized that among the guards that the two of them had brought, there were also Heavenly Emperor-level existences. Yang, the commander of the border city, and the others could not compare to them at all. What? Lu Ming saw that among the people brought by Commander Rama, there was a very mysterious person. He was covered in a black robe and his appearance could not be seen clearly. I don't see any Heaven Realm experts or foreign races, Lu Ming pondered. The country ruler has arrived. At this moment, a voice was heard. Then a group of people flew over from the distance. There were more than 100 people, and the leader was a human in his 50s. He wore a crown and had a majestic aura. Obviously this person was the king of Fengming country. The group of people landed on the seats at the head of the table and sat down in succession. Greetings, king. Everyone stood up and saluted the king of Fengming. Everyone please rise and take a seat. The king of Fengming country waved his hand. Everyone took their seats. The commanders' meeting that happens once every 100 years is about to begin again. The rules are the same as before. Everyone will bring 3 guards and the last commander will start the challenge. Just do whatever you want. This king knows what the final battle result is. The country ruler announced. Yes. Everyone responded. Then the last-ranked commander sent out a guard and jumped onto the fighting ring. His opponent was a guard of the 12th-ranked commander. Boom. There was nothing to say, and the two of them began to fight fiercely. Both of them were peak great emperors and their battle power was similar. The battle was very intense and they exchanged a few hundred moves. In the end, both of them were injured and it ended in a draw. How is it? Do you have the confidence? Commander Yang secretly sent a message to Lu Ming and the rest. This kind of trash can't even withstand a single blow. I can defeat him in 10 moves. Lu said full of confidence. However, after taking a look at Lu Ming, his face turned gloomy again. He had been defeated by Lu Ming in 1 move. Lu Ming smiled and did not say much. Chapter 2468. The Evil God Tribe appears. The challenge continued. Next, it was still the last-ranked commander's turn to send someone out. It was still a battle between guards. But this time, after a few hundred moves, the guard of the 12th-ranked commander had won by a slight margin. Then the 2 guards fought for the 3rd time. This time, the 2 guards also ended in a draw. Let's have a battle. In the end, the last-ranked commander leaped onto the fighting ring and looked at the guard who was ranked 12th. Fight. The 12th-ranked commander simply jumped onto the fighting ring. Boom. The two of them began to fight intensely. The scene was shocking. Both of their cultivation bases were equivalent to the Heavenly Emperor realm, but they were only equivalent to 1-star Heavenly Emperors. This battle also lasted for a few hundred moves. In the end, it was the commander ranked 12th who was slightly better and defeated the other party. The last-ranked commander had an ugly expression. He couldn't even defeat the 12th-ranked commander. This time he was destined to be ranked last again. Alright, let's continue the battle after everyone has recovered. Men, prepare the banquet, King Fengming announced. Immediately, young girls began to serve fine wine and delicacies. Everyone began to eat and drink, and even Monarch Fengming called over a group of beautiful women to dance on the battle stage to liven things up. Everyone ate and drank as they waited. They were all powerhouses equivalent to the martial emperor realm. They had plenty of time and were not in a hurry. Only when the people who had been fighting just now had recovered to their peak condition did the challenge begin. The 12th commander began his challenge. However, he obviously didn't dare to challenge those who were ranked too high. He chose to challenge those who were ranked 11th. This battle was also very intense, but in the end, it was still the 11th ranked commander who won. 100 years was a very short period of time for these great emperors and heavenly emperors. Therefore, everyone's combat strength wouldn't improve much in 100 years. It was difficult to change the ranking, which was almost the same as 100 years ago. Only a few people were full of suspense. For example, Commander Yu Zhan and Commander Rama. After the battle, the crowd continued to wait. When they recovered, the challenges would continue. Just like that, 2 days later, it was finally the governor of the border city's turn to challenge. He directly challenged Commander Yi Yang. Many people were interested. This was because this match was also quite suspenseful. 100 years ago, the border city's commander and Yi Yang's forces were about the same in strength. In the final king's ranking, Yi Yang was ranked ahead of the border city. All these years, the border city's commander had been dissatisfied and wanted to surpass Yi Yang in this commander's meeting. But, on the side of the border city's commander, a tall guard leaped onto the fighting ring. His gaze swept across Lu Ming bin Biu and Liao Min before finally stopping on Lu Ming and the other two. He knew Bamboo and Liao Min. They were both very strong, so he had no confidence. However, he had never seen Lu Ming before. Moreover, he looked very young. Hence, he chose Lu Ming at the first moment. "Kid, come down and fight." The burly man pointed at Lu Ming. "You actually picked me? It seems like they think I'm easy to bully." Lu Ming smiled. Blue and Liao Min's lips trembled. Lu Ming was easy to bully? They had already mourned for the burly man. Yi Yang also had a smile on his face. The more eye-catching the performance of his guards was, the higher the score the monarch would give them, and the higher their ranking would be. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared on the fighting ring. "Kid, what's your name?" "I don't kill nameless people," the large man said coldly. This kind of battle didn't have any life or death restrictions. If you had the strength, you could directly kill your opponent. Lu Ming said indifferently. However, when Lu Ming announced his name, the black-robed figure who had been sitting behind Commander Rama trembled and gave off a cold, killing intent. Commander Rama turned his head and looked at the black-robed man curiously. As for Lu Ming, he sensed the other party's killing intent at the first moment and looked at the black-robed man. The other party had revealed killing intent after he had told them his name. It was clear that they were targeting him. Even now, the other party was still filled with killing intent and didn't hide it at all. The moment he heard my name, he revealed killing intent towards me. Could he be from the evil god race? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. This was highly possible. The evil god race had a unique appearance, and they were not found in Netherworld Mountain. As long as they revealed their true form, the people from the Heaven Realm would be able to recognize them. On the other hand, the Heaven Realm had a certain advantage because there were many humans in Netherworld Mountain. They were mixed in with the crowd, so it would be difficult for the other party to find them. In the stands, Commander Yi Yang looked in Commander Rama's direction and frowned. His expression was a little gloomy. "Brat, where are you looking at? You're looking for death." Die. The burly man roared and charged at Lu Ming. The saber in his hand was as fast as lightning as he slashed at Lu Ming. "Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted coldly. He did not even look and kicked him. Bang! The other party's saber beam collapsed and he was kicked in the stomach by Lu Ming. He screamed in pain and flew out of the fighting ring, falling to the ground. So strong. Many people were stunned. He defeated a peak great emperor in one move. What kind of fighting power was that? Could it be that Lu Ming was a celestial the Arch? The border city commander's expression was extremely ugly. If Yi Yang had a celestial emperor as his subordinate, he would lose for sure. After sending the burly man flying, Lu Ming's gaze turned to the black-robed man. "Since you're here, why hide your head and show your tail? Reveal your true face." Hee. The other party sneered and then took off his black robe, revealing his true appearance. This person was middle-aged and had long purple hair. He was a member of the royal family of the foreign races. As his 3 eyes opened and closed, a cold light flashed. "So you're Lu Ming." "I'm quite lucky. You're the first person I killed." The non-human king laughed coldly. Although he did not make it so obvious, Lu Ming was very clear about his meaning. What the other party meant was that the first Heaven Realm being that he would kill in Netherworld Mountain would be Lu Ming. "Oh really? That's what I wanted to say." Lu Ming responded coldly. He took a step forward and returned to the stands. "You have a grudge against him?" Yang asked. His face was extremely gloomy and his long and narrow eyes flashed with a cold light. "Not bad." Lu Ming nodded. Yang, it seems that your guard has a grudge against my guard. It seems that we are going to have a battle." Commander Loma laughed out loud. His voice was filled with coldness. Yi Yang's expression was extremely ugly. The other commanders watched with a faint smile, especially the commander of the border city, who was gloating. Feng Ming Country's king looked on with a faint smile and did not speak. These commanders had conflicts with each other, which was to his liking. This way he could better manage them. Chapter 2468 Falling Out. Commander Rama must be joking. How would I dare to fight with you? Commander Yang forced a smile on his ugly face. Then he looked at Lu Ming with a cold glint in his long and narrow eyes. Lu Ming, hurry up and apologize to Commander Rama and his guards. You want me to apologize? Even Lu Ming was stunned. He did not expect Yang to do this. Yang didn't even know what grudges he had with the alien race. He didn't even ask and wanted him to apologize? That's right. Hurry up. I don't care what grudges you have. Go and apologize, and you must make Commander Rama and his guards forgive you. No matter what method you use, no matter what price you have to pay. Do you understand? Yang said coldly. His voice was full of threat and he did not hide it at all. His meaning was clear. No matter what method Lu Ming used, even if he had to kneel down, even if he had to pay a heavy price, he had to make the other party forgive him so that Commander Rama would not challenge him. The meeting of commanders didn't have a rule that those who were ranked higher couldn't challenge those who were ranked lower. Now it was just the beginning. Only the lower-ranked ones could start the challenge. Those who were ranked higher could also challenge those who were ranked lower. However, that would leave a bad impression in the king's heart. Yang was scared to death. Luomo was ruthless and had strong combat strength. If he challenged him, he would be dead. He was cursing in his heart. Of all people, Lu Ming had to offend the guard of Commander Rama. He was simply courting death. It was fine if he was courting death, but he had to implicate him. Hee. Lu Ming sneered. What are you laughing at? Yang said coldly. The gloominess in his snake-like eyes became even stronger. I'm laughing. Who do you think you are? What right do you have to order me around? Lu Ming answered indifferently. What? Yang's eyes widened and he was stunned. What did Lu Ming say? Lu Ming actually said that he was something? How dare he? A flame of anger filled Yang's chest. Lu Ming was just his guard. In the end, he was just his dog. Now, he actually dared to say that in front of the other commanders and the Monarch. This made him extremely embarrassed and embarrassed. His heart was filled with cold killing intent, and he could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. If it was any other guard, they would definitely not dare to disobey him. They had to do whatever he said. Ha, this brat is seeking his own death. At the side, Blue laughed wildly in his heart. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so stupid. He was simply courting death. No need to talk nonsense. Even if he kneels in front of me today, he must die. At this moment, the non-human king spoke coldly. Yang's expression turned even uglier. He looked around and his eyes lit up. Everyone, this guard of mine is arrogant and disregards his superiors. What's the point of keeping such a person? I will now expel him from the ranks of my guards. If you have any grudges with him, you can go and find him. It has nothing to do with me. Lu Ming, hand over your guard token. Yang looked at Lu Ming coldly. They actually expelled him from the ranks of the guards. This Yang is decisive. However, this way he can avoid a battle with Commander Luomo. It's a wise choice. That's right. If it were me, that would be the only thing I could do. I would be courting death if I fought with Commander Rama. The surrounding commanders were all discussing. The country ruler, who was sitting at the top, had a calm expression. He was drinking his wine and no one knew what he was thinking. Erase your guard token. Lu Ming took out the guard token and threw it to Yang. Commander Rama, Lu Ming is no longer my guard. If you have any problems, you can look for him. Commander Yang looked at Commander Rama with a flattering expression. Hee, this commander is really trash. The non-human king laughed in disdain. Yang's expression was ugly, but he did not dare to refute. The other party was Rama's guard. Offending him was equivalent to offending Rama. It's all because of Lu Ming. Otherwise, I wouldn't be like this. Yang looked at Lu Ming coldly, his killing intent flashing. This time he had kicked Lu Ming out of the ranks of guards in public. Not only did he have one less person on his side, but he was also afraid that the king's impression of him was not good. This time, it was definitely impossible for him to increase his ranking. He was afraid that his ranking would even fall and he would be suppressed by the commander of the border city. He blamed everything on Lu Ming. You still want to kill me? Lu Ming naturally felt Yang's murderous intent. There was also a murderous intent in Lu Ming's eyes. Your Majesty, I'm going to challenge Lu Ming to settle my personal grudges. Please allow me to do so. The non-human king cupped his fists towards the king. Sure. The country ruler said indifferently. They were just a few commander guards, so he didn't take them to heart. But the non-human king leaped onto the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, come up and fight. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He moved and leaped onto the fighting ring. Even if the other party didn't challenge him, he would still find an opportunity to challenge the other party. Alien races were killed without mercy. Every time they killed one, the strength of the non-humans would be reduced. Boom. A powerful aura erupted from the non-human king. This is second-level void transformation stage. What a powerful aura. What a terrifying strength. It's only a guard of Commander Rama, but he actually has the strength of a second-level void transformation stage martial artist. The other commanders all cried out in alarm. A second-level void transformation stage martial artist was equivalent to a 2-star heavenly emperor. One had to know that some of the other commanders were only at the first level of the void transformation stage and some were at the second level of the void transformation stage. On the other hand, even a guard of Commander Rama was at the second level void transformation stage. The difference between them was too great. Luo Mo's lips curled into a cold smile. This was his trump card. This time he was going to defeat Commander Yu Zhan and obtain the first place. Kill. Destruction sword formation. The non-human king shouted coldly. Beams of destructive light shot out from his third eye and turned into combat swords. They formed a sword formation and charged at Lu Ming. Good. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He swung his fist and threw dozens of punches in a row. This time, Lu Ming did not use the way of domination. Instead, he simply used his physical strength. Boom. Boom. After dozens of continuous explosions, Lu Ming shook off the sword formation, but he also retreated continuously. He actually blocked it. The other commanders were shocked. Lu Ming had actually blocked the opponent's attack. This was enough to prove that Lu Ming was also at the Heavenly Emperor realm. That Yang has a guard at the Transformation Void Martial stage. The commander of the border city had a dark look in his eyes. Detestable. Yang roared. The stronger Lu Ming's performance was, the more uncomfortable he felt. He could not help but think how good it would have been if Lu Ming had not offended Rama's guards. Then he would have been able to climb up the ranking. That country ruler Feng Ming was also interested. He had never seen Lu Ming and the foreign tribe's royal family before. He could not help but feel curious about the fact that Feng Ming country suddenly had 2 void transformation stage existences. Chapter 2470 Challenging Yang, Kill. The leader of the non-human race roared. His third eye shone even brighter. Rays of light burst out and condensed into more and more combat swords, which flew toward Lu Ming. At the same time, a purple sword appeared in his hand. He became one with the sword and turned into a purple stream of light, charging toward Lu Ming. He exploded with all his strength and wanted to kill Lu Ming as soon as possible. It seems that I'm not a match for a 2-star celestial emperor with just the strength of my physical body. Lu Ming had an idea. Then he clenched his fist in the air. The purple gold ruler's power gathered and turned into a long spear. Buzz. Lu Ming swept his long spear in all directions, and the sword gleam that was slashing at him was shattered. Clang. Lu Ming's long spear collided with the sword radiance of the non-human king and a shocking boom was heard. The non-human king's body trembled violently, and his eyes were filled with horror as he was sent flying by Lu Ming's slap. Whoosh. Lu Ming charged forward with his spear like a bolt of lightning, his speed extremely fast. The non-human royal could not avoid it at all. Lu Ming's spear pierced through his head between his eyebrows. A 2-star heavenly emperor from the royal non-human race had died. Boom. Yang suddenly stood up from his seat, his face full of shock. Lu Ming's combat strength was so powerful that he could kill a second-level void transformation stage expert. One had to know that he himself was only at the second-level void transformation. The others were also shocked. Someone actually expelled such an expert from the ranks of the guards. It seems like someone is very confident. The commander of the border city sneered. Commander Yang's expression turned ugly. At that moment he felt a tinge of regret. If he had known that Lu Ming was so powerful, he would have considered it. With a helper like Lu Ming, he would definitely be able to rank higher in the commander ranking. Even if he offended Commander Rama, it was not unacceptable. However, it was too late to regret now. Damn it. Commander Rama's anger and killing intent soared. Lu Ming had actually killed a non-human king, causing him to lose an important general. This time it would have a huge impact on his attempt to get first place. Haha, Rama, it seems like your subordinate has challenged someone he shouldn't have. Commander Yuzhan laughed out loud. Among these people he was the happiest. Of the 13 commanders, only Commander Rama was a threat to him. Now that Commander Rama had lost a powerful helper, he was naturally happy. Don't think that just because I'm short of a guard, I'm not your match. Commander Rama said coldly as his eyes flickered with a fierce light. After killing the non-human king, Lu Ming reached out and took his storage bracelet. He did not leave the fighting ring. He glanced at Commander Yi Yang coldly, then turned to the king and cupped his fists. Your Majesty, Lu Ming would like to ask if it is possible for me to challenge a commander now? Lu Ming's words shocked some of the commanders. Lu Ming wanted to challenge the commander? Was he trying to ascend to the position of commander? Commander Yi Yang was especially shocked. A trace of fear flashed in his eyes. He was afraid. He was afraid that Lu Ming would challenge him. Impudent. Who do you think you are? You're not even a commander's guard, yet you still want to challenge a commander? This is the commander's assembly, why aren't you getting lost? Commander Yi Yang stood up and chided. If I remember correctly, the rule of Feng Ming country states that anyone can challenge the commander. As long as they defeat and kill the other party, they can replace the other party's position. Did I remember wrongly? Lu Ming cast a glance at Commander Yi Yang and said sarcastically. Haha, of course you can. At this moment Monarch Feng Ming laughed out loud. He was naturally happy to see the challenges between his subordinates. Only in this way the strong would replace the weak, and his country of Feng Ming would become stronger and stronger. Which commander do you want to challenge? Asked King Feng Ming. Many of the 13 commanders present became nervous. I want to challenge Commander Yi Yang. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and pointed at Yi Yang. Yi Yang's face turned pale and his eyes were filled with fear. He could not fathom Lu Ming's combat strength at all. He had just killed a second-level void transformation stage expert. He knew that he was stronger than the foreign tribe's royal family, but not by much. He was not confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. Damn it, damn it. Commander Yi Yang roared in his heart. He was filled with regret. If he had known this would happen, he would not have taken Lu Ming in as his guard. He blamed everything on Lu Ming. He did not think about why Lu Ming had challenged him. He felt that everything he had done was right. Yang, why aren't you accepting the challenge? Are you afraid of your own guard? The commander of the border city sneered. Commander Yi Yang's face turned red. In the end he was helpless. He had to fight this battle. Otherwise he would not be able to survive in Feng Ming country. Bus. He leaped onto the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming coldly. He held a combat sword in each of his hands. The 2 combat swords emitted a dark light. All of a sudden Commander Yi Yang made his move. He attacked first. His 2 combat swords turned into 2 cold venomous snakes and charged at Lu Ming. At the same time his lower body, the snake tail, was like a sharp long sword, stabbing toward Lu Ming. When they worked together, it was impossible to guard against. However, Lu Ming did not need to defend at all. He could just attack. Bus. The long spear vibrated and Lu Ming swept it out. The purple-gold spear expanded as it swept out. It became thousands of meters long and crushed towards Commander Yi Yang. No matter how tricky Yi Yang's attack was, it was useless. In the face of such a brutal attack, he could only take it head-on. The combat sword in his hands slashed continuously. In an instant, he had slashed more than 1,000 times, hitting the long spear condensed by Lu Ming's power of domination and letting out a dense roar. But even so, Commander Yi Yang was still sent flying by the terrifying power of the spear. His face turned pale. Bang! Lu Ming stepped on the fighting ring and leaped high into the air. He held the spear with both hands and smashed it down at Yi Yang with the force of Mount Tai. A huge spear ray pressed down like a mountain range. Commander Yi Yang roared and used all his strength. His body was covered in a layer of green light. The next moment he actually turned into a huge python and soared into the sky. Boom! The long spear collided heavily with the python. The python screamed and fell off the fighting ring, revealing Yi Yang's appearance again. At this moment, his breathing was weak and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face was filled with fear. Whoosh! Lu Ming became one with his spear and turned into a spear ray, charging towards Yi Yang. No, I admit defeat, Commander Yi Yang screamed in fear. However, Lu Ming's long spear did not stop at all. It pierced through Commander Yi Yang. You, Commander Yi Yang's eyes widened and he looked at Lu Ming in horror. Then he stopped breathing. Commander Yi Yang, an expert at the second-level void transformation stage, chased Lu Ming away because he was afraid of Commander Rama. However, he attracted a fatal disaster for himself. You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.